Okay, are we ready now?
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Holy smokes, it was hard to get ready tonight.
That was an intro.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for tuning in to Untitled Car Project. We are here again. I'm Rob Spring.
I am Grant Gonzalez.
Ian Fike.
And we are here with John Nidermayer. Thanks for joining us, John.
Hi, John.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Here to talk some car stuff, some projects, and some things that we're going to try to stump you.
Love car stuff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yep. So I don't really have, I think you had something, Grant, that you wanted to talk about right off the top. Social media, something or other.
Oh, for people to go and to Spotify and start rating our show. If you like it, give us a 5-star on it. Any amount of input, it helps us out.
It would help us out. It helped grow the podcast a little bit. Strangely, those algorithms work in Spotify, and they look for that stuff. So, the more reviews we get, the better. Check us out on Spotify or any other. I guess if you're listening, you're already on something. So give us a rating, even Apple or Pandora or
a YouTube like button.
YouTube. Yeah, John, you listen on YouTube, don't you?
YouTube.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very well.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Still no video coming. We can't really figure out. I mean, we can figure out how to do the video, but the editing is a whole nother level of
That's going to
commitment.
be a lot of work, yeah.
Exactly,
I've got some ideas, but we're probably about a couple months away from it actually happening.
Okay.
But I've got some plans, so listeners, get prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
If it doesn't happen, listener, I want you to email Grant at
Untitled Car Project.
Yep, I will forward it to him. Send it at untitledcarproject@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. It's all Grant's fault. Mm-hmm. Other than that, we've got the Facebook page going. The group is growing. That's pretty cool. We're seeing a lot of stuff popping up in there.
Our Discord is still only 3 people.
Is it? I haven't looked.
I know. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah.
I assume.
I assume it's only 3 people. So follow us on any of those social medias. Maybe you'll see some pictures of car projects and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I know we've got other people sharing those, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
John.
Yes.
I'm not even really sure where I want to start. I know you've got a lot of stuff to talk about, even though you might not think so. I think you do. Let's start with tuners. Tuning cars.
Yes.
Not tuning forks?
Pitchforks.
Yeah. Tuning forks.
Tuning forks.
Yeah.
Tuning cars. You do this not for a living, correct?
Not for a living.
Right.
It is a hobby.
Hobby tuning.
Just something that interests me.
Yeah. When did you pick that up? When did you start doing that?
A little history on it. When Chevrolet announced the SB2 for NASCAR, it was a new technology, and it really intrigued me. And when they introduced it into the 97 Corvette, I wanted one right away. Just it intrigued me, the technology of it. Obviously, it was so new you couldn't get them and things. So it took quite a few years, and I finally researched for several years and did my first conversion in 2009. What led me to the tuning was nobody knew how to make it run.
Oh, really?
Yes, there was a shop in town. They struggled. They went out of business, and so I was left to my own devices and learned what to do and picked it up and just started.
So you were converting. I think I missed.
I put an LS3 in my '68 Camaro.
Okay. All right.
That
fills in the gap.
That fills in the gap.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Okay, so you couldn't find somebody to make it run, and you were using what ECU on that?
the factory.
The factory ECU.
E38.
Yeah.
E38, okay.
I had purchased the GM harness and the plug and play package that goes with it. After having that and trying to install it, I did not like many of the features that it had, so I ordered a custom harness for the E38.
Okay.
Who made that for you?
It was called Standard Performance they were in Arizona.
Okay.
They were doing a lot of sandrail projects at the time. And it worked well enough for the time, but it was a way to get me where I wanted to go.
For sure.
Okay.
What So a custom harness, what does that actually delete or add?
Basically, it deletes like O2 sensors, EGR.
So, and then you tell the ECU not to look for that stuff?
Yes, like the post-cat
Yep.
O2s,
Yep.
EGR, EGR and the...
CAGs. Right?
Exactly.
CAGs and
CAGs.
VATs.
VATs.
Yep.
VATs is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few, and I have the same kind of setup in my L99 LS3. So, there's so many people making custom harnesses now. I'm interested to see what you have now. Did you upgrade it, or are you still running that one?
I have. The early one was a drive-by cable throttle body.
Yep, I had an LS1 with the drive-by cable.
Yes. And in the early times, I was a little leery of the drive-by wire. So I went that route. Later on, I had problems with the harness. There were issues with it, so I wanted to upgrade. And I went with a drive-by cable. And other issues with it were to do a drive-by cable, I had to have a converter box for the crank sensor.
Right.
Because
like a different reluctor wheel or something?
Different reluctor wheel. Well, I didn't change the reluctor wheel, but Lingenfelter built a converter box.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you could go from the 58-tooth reluctor to the 24-tooth. The early ones were problematic. It failed on me and on a trip.
Of course.
Down to Reno. Yeah. So I just said, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm going to convert to use the native 58-tooth system and computer, and which included the drive-by cable or drive-by wire throttle body.
Okay.
And I looked around, looked at quite a few different companies. By that time, I'd had some friends who had used various companies, and I helped them with their projects. I didn't like what they were using, so I found SpearTech.
Yeah.
And they were
Great
the one.
Stuff.
They are. And they were the one company that would allow me to put my ECU and my fuse block and all the components where I wanted them, as opposed to here's our harness.
Oh.
This is where we want you to put it.
Yeah. Here's the wire lengths that you get.
Yeah. Where do you put your ECM? Drill a hole in the firewall and put it in the cabin.
There. Oh.
If you can.
If you can, that's just it. There's no room. And you need access to it from time to time to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
And so SpearTech would put them where I wanted them and allowed me to hide them, but still have access to them.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So, so your learning to tune was very, it was kind of forced.
It was.
Yeah.
It was driven by need.
Yeah. And so what, you went and bought all the software you needed to do it, and just, how'd you go about that?
Well, when I bought my first harness, they had available to buy the hardware and the software, or the hardware. The software comes with it.
Okay.
So I bought it and looked at it, didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I say, I went to have a local shop do it. They struggled with it.
Yeah.
Barely got it running. Tried to find some resources, tried to read online. In the early days, people weren't willing to share their knowledge.
Oh, really?
Well,
gosh, I would say that's probably true now.
It's true now too.
Yeah.
But it was even worse then.
Yeah. Okay.
There's some guys that will help you work through your
figure it out.
Now. Yeah. But in the early days, it was a business for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did not want to give away their secrets, because it was a lot like when I first started. To me, it was like black magic. Mm-hmm. You put this in, you've had sensors, they go into the computer, things happen, the car runs.
Yeah.
How does all that work? How does all this work together?
How's it reading these X's and O's and what's going on?
Was there any basic books or anything you started reading back then, just to give you a jump start?
There were some, but my knowledge at that point was so minimal that a lot of what was there was not making sense.
Not useful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I went and so through that process, there was some schools you could go to.
Oh, okay.
So I traveled. The first ones I went to were at SEMA.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
They had schools there, so
Yeah.
I went to SEMA and attended the schools, got some basic understanding of them. Then I went to Tampa, where their main headquarters were, and took some more advanced courses
Main headquarters for.
for the tuning school itself.
What's it called?
Oh, gotcha.
The tuning school.
Oh,
Literally called the
Literally, that's
You already
what it's
said it.
called.
The
Yep.
tuning school.
Yeah.
And so I went there. And then through being on the forums and things, I learned of a GM calibration engineer
Okay.
who was GM trained and did calibrations for the factory tunes. And he was teaching. And I bought a couple of his books and read all I could from there. And then he was having some live hands-on classes, so I attended those.
That's cool.
And those really gave me a much better understanding, because he went through not why you go in certain areas and adjust certain things. He taught you why you're doing it with mathematical formulas and things.
Oh,
Sure.
really?
Because that's how GM did it, and that's how he knew how to do it.
Okay.
So he taught you why you were doing it, not just do this,
Not just
because it works.
do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason why is always helpful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps you with the background of why, what's this going to do? Not just that I do it and it runs, but what is it doing?
What's it doing and why is it doing it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Did he
that's
ever try to push you guys to experiment then? Or just be like, just get basics down, get the why?
There was experimenting is always part of it, because there's a lot of tables that modify certain aspects of how the engine runs, and once you get through, there's just a few basic tables that actually make the engine run. And as Ian was talking about, the MAF and the VE and the spark.
Yep.
And that's basically what it needs.
yeah.
And those are the basics where you start. And once you get through with those, then you can do drivability issues and work into those areas. And those take some experimentation to
Okay.
find out exactly what your car needs at a particular time.
Okay. But there's got to be, I mean, I don't know a thing about tuning, right? So it seems still to me like black magic, like what's going on in that little computer box. But how dangerous is it to experiment with those tuning factors, right? To try to fine tune once you've got the basics down and it runs, maybe not great, but it runs. How careful do you have to be?
Well, once you do the basic tables, everything else is just a modifier to those. So unless you go very extreme in an adjustment,
Okay.
you're not going to hurt anything.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was
yeah.
wondering. Yeah. And even on the basic tables, though, what's it like? There's got to be limits, high and low limits, I would assume. Like how close? How do you formulate that question?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rob.
Yeah. when it's generic 0.0, right? Do you have to know a baseline for what you're working on to set it up, or
Well,
how do you get there?
most of the tunes, you have a factory tune to start from.
Okay.
So they've already done the hard work.
Yeah, they
And
got
you're
it
just
close.
modifying, like most people like the C6. Put a cam and heads in it. Okay. Basically, what makes it run is there. You just need to make some adjustments to take care of the extra airflow
Okay.
in certain points. And at idle, there's less airflow because the cam is less efficient down there. So you need to just make some tweaks
Okay.
to make that happen.
It's mostly fuel and timing, right? I mean,
It
you
is.
have it. Yeah. I mean, because
And the computer just is based on air,
right.
because everything else is based off of that. How much air you're getting, that's how much fuel. And timing is based on
Same
load.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's cool.
No, that's yeah. I would still be lost. I'd really be interested in someday seeing some of that, as it's being tuned, because I don't even know what it looks like. Not even close.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty cool, but yeah, it's an interesting.
One of the big problems is the tuning software allows you access to so many tables
Yeah.
that it's not overwhelming at first because you just don't know where to start.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Don't even know what to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't know what they do.
Right.
And so you're just trying to figure it out.
Now, is that something you commit to memory, or like, is there a handbook, or like, what do you do?
Well, like I say, the schools teach you
Yeah.
that there are a few basic tables that you start with. And these are the first ones you go to, get those right. And then everything else is just a modifier of those.
Yeah.
But you still need to know what those other tables
Right.
do.
You do.
Yeah.
But most of those you don't really use.
Okay.
So
They're there, you see them, you have access to them, but they don't really affect how it runs.
So in the early days, when you first hooked up a computer to your PCM, like, were you lost? Did you already have some idea of how to do it? I mean, what did that look like?
Oh, I was completely lost. I didn't know what to look at, where to go, and trying to determine because the names to me and still are rather cryptic for what they do.
Sure.
And I can read them and it's like, I don't understand what that one does.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
now my GM engineer said, just read the names and that will tell you what they are. Well, that's fine for you who was trained in this.
Right. Yeah. 'Cause somebody that's worked with it forever and knows. Yeah. But for layman guy,
Layman
he's
guy.
I don't know what that means.
Now you got to bust out the dictionary and bust out Google and be like, okay, what does this
Yeah,
abbreviation?
maybe. Right.
Yeah. I
find
doubt back then,
Yeah. No.
not 15 years ago.
Do you think now, if you were to, with the knowledge you have now, John, how long do you think it would take to teach someone basics on how to get into tuning? Like for me, when I went to Wyotech, our course, I think, was about a month with the solid 2 weeks, 8 hours a day, solid, and that was our tuning section.
Okay.
What like if you were to teach someone like Rob that knows nothing about it from ground up to him just have like an elementary level on it, what do you think that would take nowadays?
Probably just to get those few basic tables and show you the process is probably a day
Yeah.
Okay.
of one-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands-on.
Hands-on, show you what it does, show you what they're doing and how to modify them and how to set up so that you can monitor them to know how much to modify each
Gotcha.
particular
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah. Huh. So when you do your tunes now, I'm assuming mostly on your own cars, it's street tune, right? You're not doing it on a dyno, or are you renting dyno time?
Most of mine are street tunes,
Yeah.
but I do have access to a dyno.
Nice.
The problem is getting to the dyno is the problem.
Yeah.
Is it far away?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, the guy that has the dyno is not always accessible.
Sure.
Okay.
I have to be on his schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's always busy, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And being in his shop, it's always congested with his work.
Sure. Yeah.
So
It's an inconvenience.
it's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't lend to like doing something the right way. You want to get in and out of there faster, I'd imagine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're trying not to be in his way. And
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Exactly.
So let's talk about those street tuning. How does that go? Like you hook up, do some tunes, you look at the graphs or charts and you're like, okay, let's start here and then take it out for a drive and see what it does. Or you got laptop ride along or yeah.
Yes. The first thing would be to find out exactly what they've done and what it's doing now. See how it's running.
Okay.
Hook up the scanner, look at some of the basics and see what they're doing, see how close they are, and then go for a ride.
Yeah.
And I have some places that I like to go that allow the tune to get into different load scenarios.
Oh, sure.
So that you can, you're not just rolling along on the flat because that doesn't give you much.
Right.
So there's some hills that are nice steady hills that we like to climb.
Oh, that's cool.
And just work with there. And I can let them know, okay, we're done there. Step into the throttle just a little bit more or a little less, or change gears. We need a different RPM zone.
Nice.
And
That's pretty cool.
We just
That's way cool.
Yeah.
go around a loop and however long it takes.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, because you're saying do you do that as a team? Like you and the partner, someone's driving and you're on the computer and adjusting and watching the data?
Yeah, usually the car owner's driving.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the passenger seat with everything and working the computer.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I drew a blank after you.
Well,
Go for it.
I'd really like to do that with you, John, with my car, man. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how you do it too. And, the thing you said about load changing and hills and stuff, that's interesting because, most dynos don't. I mean, some of them do have simulated load, but a lot of them don't.
Well, and the one we use has that.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a eddy load dyno, and you can load it up and have it hold an RPM and just step the throttle through
Wow.
and get into various loads.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it generates a lot of heat.
Got to cool down.
Yeah.
Is street tuning as accurate as dyno?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
The dyno allows you to do things you can't do on the street.
Gotcha.
Like we're just talking, loading it up to its levels that you can't get to on the street, no matter which. And the other problem with street tuning is there's so many variables. You need to be, as they call it, steady state. So that you're just holding it steady and letting the air flow in a nice uniform manner.
Okay.
That's hard to do on the street and really do a good job of it.
Okay. Yeah. If you're on a dyno tuning, I mean, I've seen a lot of videos of it, and it seems like every time I see it, somebody's in the car running the car. But can you run it from the computer?
No.
It's not even a drive-by-wire. You can't do it.
No.
Okay. Yeah. It just seems like that would be a good way to be able to. It's like, this is where I want it. You set it there. Press go.
Yeah. Well, you still need to run the clutch and
Right.
Right.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I was going to ask, if someone is just getting into tuning and they're getting used to it, so would you recommend if someone's just starting out to rent to dyno or get someone and do that on a controlled area and so they can figure out and fine tune their tune? Or is it better for them to be on the street because they're more active and have more abilities to have that, but it'd be less accurate?
So this is for somebody that's just started to
Just
learn
starting
to
out.
tune?
They're just starting out. They've got an idea of a tune. Like if Rob was to say he wanted to program one of his Corvettes and he's like, I got this tune, and he's like, okay, do I test this and say, go and find a friend with a dyno and test on there, and so I know
Baseline, basically.
get a baseline from that one?
Yep.
Or is it better to be like, okay, I've got more time than that, I can go on the street and start tuning it that way. But if he's doing it that way, it's going to be less accurate, right?
Well, once he gets a baseline of knowledge so that he understands what's going on, probably just driving the street and seeing what it's doing be best, so that when you do get to a dyno, if you do, that your time is more efficient at that point.
Sure, because then you can tell them, this is what I feel it's doing when I'm driving it under certain conditions, certain throttle positions, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So, John, do you exclusively use HP tuners, or do you have other software?
I have HP tuners and EFI Live.
Okay. Have you ever looked at like the Holley Terminator X thing or anything? Have you compared it to that, like ease of use?
I prefer the GM computers myself.
Sure.
Yeah. The like for me, the Holley and the others, they work, but I would compare them as in their functionality as to being more like tuning a carburetor. You just get these very basic things you can do with it, and that's it. Whereas with a factory HP tuner's tune, or EFI Live is the other one I use.
Okay.
You have access to a lot more modifiers that can kind of round out the tune and polish it more and make it more of a fine-tuned.
That's interesting. It is interesting, Rob, because so many people run the Holley stuff.
It's really basic.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
They run it because it's easy.
Yeah, because it's easy, but they're like, oh, why would you want to mess with HP tuners? Because
Well, then would it be better to run and get used to Holley first, and then is like
That's a good
a
quote.
lot of people, for example, let's just use like Microsoft Movie Maker. People use that to make YouTube videos, but professionals who use Adobe Premiere, the studio, like, is the tuning the same way where it's, it's better to start with the other, like Holly, because simple, or it's better to start with HP because you have so much more you can do and jump into it, even though it's a more steeper learning curve.
Yeah, I would say that. I guess in the end, it depends on your end goal. Mm-hmm. If you're running like a race car, it doesn't matter that it idles as smoothly as you'd like it, or various things. Mm-hmm. Then the aftermarket solutions
Just fine.
work just fine.
Okay.
But for something that I like to drive on the street,
You want it to be mild mannered and smooth and not have any hiccups.
exactly.
Yeah.
When you're cruising around, you don't want it to stall at a stoplight sign or
Right.
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. Or have a dead spot in the throttle or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Something I thought of was when you're tuning, you have your computer right there. Can you see if it's burning rich or lean, or if you're building excessive heat, anything like that? Can you actually see that on the screen, or?
You can see the richer lean.
Yeah.
It's based on the O2 sensors.
Okay.
GM uses the narrow bands, which tell you only if it's on the rich side or the lean side.
Oh.
But you would put in a wide band and watch that.
Okay.
And that tells you where you're at.
Oh, so you can dial it in more specifically? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have a wide band that you put like in the tailpipe, or how does that work? Or do you actually modify the actual car's one?
Yeah. Well, I like to have a second bung put in for the wideband O2.
Where does that
cool.
go? Just
That goes up close to where the original is, as close as you can to where the pipe starts.
okay.
You want it as close to the head as possible.
Yep.
After the runners, essentially, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, where everything collects together and has a chance to mix a little bit.
So being able to see that, does that help you actually really dial it in more accurately?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Something you're not going to get with aftermarket tune, like with a Holly or whatever.
Well,
I think
the
they
Hollies
do have a wide band.
have
Yeah.
their own method of doing that,
Yeah.
and they will dial in. Mm-hmm. It's just the modifiers. They don't have the modifiers that the factory computers have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So your specific when you tune is just GM stuff.
Just GM.
Yeah. So
I like
that shoots down your
I
other
like it.
Oh,
blam. There you go.
The Fords,
See, I knew I liked John.
yeah, their throttle strategy. They have many tables to control the throttle.
yeah.
Really
and it's just jam.
overly complicated.
Yeah.
Really complicated. I'm just jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since that's what I run anyway, I just want to focus on those.
Yeah.
Completely fair.
Is there a really big difference for when you start going naturally aspirated to a forced induction on like your tables and like in tuning it properly? Or is it just the same thing looking at like
It's the same thing. You just expand your tables out to include
More
those airflow models.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's really not much difference.
And can you, just curiously, can you use EFI Live or HP tuners with a Ford ECU PCM?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's called LS swapping a Mustang.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the only way, Grant. That's what
Yeah.
you should do.
And HP Tuners is really expanding what they have access to. I don't remember everything, but they're into a lot of European, a lot of getting into some of the Asian cars,
Cool.
the side-by-sides.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a big market out there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many cars have you tuned, do you think? Kind of a
Probably
random question. But
30.
yeah, 30 or so.
That's cool.
Yeah. How long have you been doing it?
Probably, what are we now? 10 years.
Yeah. That's cool. And of course you do all your own stuff.
On my own.
Yeah.
And my friends, when they finally get around to
Yeah.
converting. And
doing
most of
something
what I
else.
do is conversions.
Oh, really?
What
yeah.
do you mean by that? Like a swap? Like
Swaps.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. LS swaps.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't do very many factory tunes, or not factory tunes, but And most of the ones I do are Corvettes.
Yeah, I bet.
People with Corvettes want to make changes.
So do you always ask them to put that secondary bung on for the wideband first?
Yes.
Okay. And you just need it on one side?
Just one side.
Okay.
You can do tuning without that for just drivability, but as soon as you go into power enrichment, it requires a wideband.
Yeah.
Because the computer goes into open loop, it's no longer looking at the O2 sensors. So you need something to monitor,
Reference.
make sure that you're in a safe zone.
Right, so that'd bring back almost Rob's point where you could really destroy something if you didn't have it.
Right. Yeah, with the running it too lean or something and burn a hole in a piston. That's fun. How much stuff can you actually turn off? Like you get into the ECU, there's a lot of, a lot of codes on my dash that I ignore. How much of that can you turn off?
He wants to turn off all the Christmas tree.
Oh, I do. Yes,
Probably all of it.
Yeah.
Probably.
There are some things that come through the body control module
Yep.
that I don't have access to.
I already turned those off.
Oh, well, then you're safe.
Yeah. Actually, the one that annoys me right now is I put an aftermarket fan controller in it because I didn't like where Corvette turns the fans on high. It's like 235 degrees.
Oh.
So high.
Terrible.
You could fix that.
You could. You're right. But I went the other direction. I just put a new fan setup and radiator and a new fan controller. But that leaves my old fan controls still off the factory ECU. It's looking for that resistance. So it throws a code. I want to turn that off. So that's just one of those things.
You can definitely do that. Because on my chassis, I don't use any of the PCM fan stuff.
Yeah.
Because what's cool about my car is the chassis has its own fan controls because I'm still running my radiator and fans from the
original.
Yeah, from the original car. So I just turned them off completely.
Yeah, gotcha.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I want to turn that off and TPMS because race tires.
Yeah, and see that's one of the things that I use is a 2013 Corvette operating system.
Oh, really?
And I focused on that one because it's very versatile.
Yeah.
And it has, for controlling the fans, pulse width modulated control so that they just ramp up and ramp down.
Right.
And I really like that because like say conversions, you hear the guys coming in and the fans are just full bore.
Right.
And
yeah,
that's not a fun thing.
I put the PWM system in, but it's just a standalone system. So
I feel like this is where my Ford brain's not translating the Cheviness.
What?
Well,
I don't know what whatever you said was the A27 something.
PWM is pulse width modulator.
Okay.
It's a DC system, so it just gives it basically modulates the ground, I believe.
Yep.
Yes.
To
changes the motor behavior.
give it enough power to increase your fan speed per whatever heat you have
Yeah.
to keep it at a certain temperature.
Okay. So what's an A27 Corvette?
Oh, 2013.
2013.
Oh, okay.
That's like I'm sure the ECU and base tune you use, right? And system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff you can tune out of them, but when you don't have that ability, you just look at the Christmas tree on the dash and you're like, yep, hope it's okay.
Rob, that's when you take off the dash and you just pull the lights,
Just
bro.
pull the lights out.
You just do the
Black
Gonzalez
tape
way
on the dash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Black tape. Be like, I will fix this later.
Yep. Oh, that's the other thing is all the seats, not necessarily seat belts, but the airbag seats and all that stuff, because you put race seats in and that stuff goes away. So all kinds of lights.
Yeah, you just got those ones you got to pull.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they're body control.
Yeah, body control.
They're part of the body control.
That's how it is in my car too.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
What's been the hardest swap you've had to do, John?
The hardest things that I come across are people that have already read the magazines, watched the TV shows, get all excited, think this is really easy because it looks really easy on TV show or in the magazines.
Yeah.
And they put all this together and it doesn't run right.
So like the taking over of someone's project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
and trying to track down what went wrong and where it went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're just getting a bunch of well, I kind of, and then it did this, so can you fix it for me?
And you're only getting half the story.
Yeah.
half the story.
Because they all want to be like, well, I kind of, put a
did
bunch
something
of
I
values
wasn't
in.
supposed
but
to
they just
do.
didn't know
Right.
that.
And they went and had somebody modify a harness and did it cheap, and you don't know what you have.
I wanted to.
Bad wires, bad connectors.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that. Have you seen anybody using like the real cheap harnesses, like the $80 ones you get on Amazon and stuff?
Or like the Home Depot special.
Yeah,
Have you seen nothing but problems with them?
nothing but problems.
Are you talking from experience?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Not on my LS3 swap. Like I actually got a good harness this time, but yeah, I kind of had some issues. But I also have had them work very well.
Yeah.
Like a $200 harness that just worked for
Crapshoot.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a crapshoot.
Yeah. You could get a good one. You could get one that was made on a Friday.
Right.
You don't know.
Yeah, I
was
know a
just
guy
curious.
that can do this for $100.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They modify the stock one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So if you're modifying a harness, what are you actually doing to it? Are you just taking out stuff you don't want? And
you're taking out the circuits that are no longer utilized, like
Yeah.
the rear O2 sensors is a big one.
Okay.
And the EGR fan
Transmission
controls, if you're
stuff.
not going to, if you're not going to use transmission. Yeah.
Why do you need to take that stuff out if you're just going to tell the computer don't look for it?
Because
It's a mess.
yeah.
You just have a boar's nest of wires.
But I guess my brain is thinking it's stock, right? So it's all there anyway.
Yeah, but sometimes it's not. You know what I mean? Like in
Well, in your instance, yeah, I can see it because
Yeah.
you're putting it in a different car.
and I feel like a lot of people are doing that too. Even like, if they're doing a swap into any car, or even they just want to simplify it because
Okay.
you just don't need all that stuff there.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Kind of. I'm kind of the guy who likes to keep everything factory. Like I know if I did a swap, everything would have its own place and everything. Like, okay, wire's not used. Why is not used? How would I get it used? What was the point of it?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You'd
wanna
want it
put
gone.
that stuff in. No, he'd want to put the stuff back in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not if you don't need it.
No, he would.
Yeah.
No, he would.
So, like, for example, like when I swapped out Liger to a TR6060 transmission, it had a random plug on the end of it, and that was for the lockout solenoid control. My car never came with that. So I had to find someone who actually built the module for that and adapt that to mine and then plug it in because I wanted to have it where that over 5 miles an hour my car would lock out because that's what the factory did.
Yeah.
I do like the extra steps so that way like
You
it's
can have all that. That doesn't sound very fun to me.
No.
Don't they call that OCD?
a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they call it grantism.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Second gear, third gear, fourth gear,
First gen.
overdrive.
How many first gen Camaros have you built?
Mine or including other people?
Including.
Yay.
Including 11.
11.
11.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That is a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah, it is.
Like, have
And
you seen all
you
shapes
have
and sizes?
4 of your own, is that right? Or 4 that you've built for yourself?
I have two.
Two.
I built one, and my daughter and son-in-law bought it from me. They thought they needed it. So yeah, I've had 3 of my own.
Okay, it's 3. Okay. All right. How many you currently just have the one or do you have
I have 2.
2? Okay. Have we seen the other one?
Yes, you have.
Which one is that?
My convertible, turquoise.
Oh,
When my car was down,
yeah.
I brought that
Okay.
when I was working the track.
Okay.
So I just drive it in.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's really cool. Like, how long does it take you? I'm sure this depends on what you start with. But if you're, say, picking up a rolling chassis, how long does it take you to build one?
He's also asking because Rob knows where some rolling chassis are.
Oh, I certainly do. Yeah.
Well, and that goes to where you want to end up. What all do you want to do?
And that goes to last episode where we talked about how do you want to finish this thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know where you're starting and where you want to end up.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
Are you
Because there's so many project cars out there that
Have-
Yeah, and it's like, are you doing like an OEM rebuild type of thing, just plus, or are you gonna just do
a
race car?
resto mod on a street car.
Like, what do you mostly, when you get a Camaro, what's your end goal for one? Like, or is there like typically like, oh, it's got to be a resto mod, back to factory, race car, or is it always changing per car that you're given?
I like to buy an original car, a nice, clean, original car, because then it's a blank canvas for me.
Okay.
It also seems really hard to find.
They are.
Yeah.
And expensive.
It is. It takes me, if I'm looking for one for myself, the last one took me 3 years to find it.
Wow. Yeah. To find the right one.
The right one.
Yeah. How many cars do you look at before you found the right one?
Many.
Many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I flew to Florida once to look at a car.
Oh
wow.
my.
Looked great,
Yeah.
but when I got there, it was
Disaster.
a disaster.
Wow.
So does it make it easier or harder than to when you get to the cars like that, just say, I'm done, nope, pass? Or is it like, because they're so, first gens are, I'd say, harder to find than any other Camaro, right? Is you see one, be like, okay, I'm going to wait to the next one. Like, what's the mark? Be like, okay, this is good enough where I'm going, if that makes sense.
I will wait.
Yeah.
I will wait.
It's
They're out there.
It's got to make it harder to walk away when you fly to Florida, though.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, not for that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. I trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting car, and I couldn't understand why they had modified it the way they had until I found out where it came from. And that, after thinking about it, okay, I understand now what they did.
Well, give us
Where'd
the
it come from?
backstory. Yeah. Leave us hanging like that.
It came from Arizona.
Okay.
All right.
So Scorpions.
Scorpions, yeah. And it had a fold-down rear seat.
Okay.
Behind the rear seat is all the framing for the structure for the car. Mm-hmm. They had cut all that out
Oh, no.
and put in like some kind of tubing to protect the edges.
Okay.
And when I looked at the car, we opened up the trunk, and I could not understand why the side marker lights had all been broken out from the inside. It's like, this does not make sense. Why are these all broken?
Yeah.
And then later in my talking with the dealer, found out it was from Arizona, and got thinking about that, and it's like, oh, they were smuggling.
people
across the border.
Yeah.
Oh,
They would
interesting.
fold down the rear seat, crawl in the trunk,
Yep.
fold the seat back up, cross the border, and then
Go in
let them
reverse.
out.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy.
That was interesting.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the guy
That
was
is.
upset that I would not take that car.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm not taking this car. There's no structure in this car.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how long it's been like
Was
this.
that a convertible too?
No, it was a coupe.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Because otherwise you couldn't hide the people because it would be exposed.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
And convertibles have too much structure back there.
Yeah, I was
go
gonna
through.
say, yeah, you'd have to have all that
Yeah.
stuff back there. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think that was a project that someone actually could have salvaged eventually?
Yes, it would be salvageable.
Yeah.
You just have to get the structure, the framing for back there.
Hope the rest of the car's not twisted.
You would
Just
want to
cage
put
the
it
hell
on
out of
a
it.
frame
Yeah, put it on a frame.
jig and see if everything's square.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy.
Because that was my first thought is, oh, I don't know what's happened. This body flex anyway.
Right.
Without that structure to hold it together.
And there was no rust,
Even
I'm
worse.
guessing, right?
Oh, there was
Tons of
horrible
it.
rust.
Oh,
That's
really?
crazy. Okay.
That's actually surprising for an Arizona car.
Yeah.
It had been in Florida long enough that
Yeah.
you open the trunk
Florida floods.
and pull up the mat,
Yeah.
and it was bright orange, not
God.
old
Fresh
old
rust.
rust. It was fresh rust.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd run too.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you start looking
yeah.
down in the quarters where they rest behind the wheels and things, and
Yeah.
it's bubbles.
Gone.
Yeah.
When you're looking for one, like what is your make it or break it? Like how detailed, because all of them are going to have a little bit of rust here and there, but like when you're, how much do you deal with? You're like, okay, that's okay. I can deal with that. I can deal with this. Like, where's your line?
My line is when I look in the trunk up in the B pillars,
Yeah,
C
B
pillars. If I see just a light surface rust in there, that's okay. But if I see deep pitting rust,
Bubbles.
Flaking off. And
flaking,
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Is that pretty common on those cars?
Since they were bare metal, it depends on where it lived its life. Yeah,
They never coated them or anything.
they were bare metal back there.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Interesting.
What about in terms of hard to find parts on those cars? Like, is that deal breaker? Like, if it doesn't have, I don't know, like certain gauges or certain trim or anything?
Nothing is.
No. Okay.
Everything is available.
Yeah, I was gonna say they remanufacture all that now.
Yeah.
Right?
You can buy a body,
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
I didn't even know that. Huh.
I didn't either.
just like the Mustang.
Yeah, I knew the fastbacks and
Yeah,
60s ones. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever built one like that
no.
from scratch?
No.
Are guys
Well,
doing that?
I have had my convertible stripped and in bare metal,
Okay.
so I built it back up.
Right. That's a wow.
Yeah,
How long did that take?
4 years.
I bet.
If you can buy just a body and build them from the ground up, is there a lot of clones out there? And then how do you spot the clones versus an original one? Or is it sometimes better to buy a clone, depending on what you want to use it for?
Yeah, cloning, and that's something I've never gotten into is licensing of
Yeah.
those vehicles.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to buy a frame though.
You would have to buy
So at that point, you're going to have a VIN.
Well, you could do a
you'd have to
custom.
buy the
frame.
VIN. Yeah,
Yeah.
You have to buy a VIN, right?
yes,
So
buy a VIN and a VIN tag.
Or a
Yeah.
parts. Yeah.
parts
A
car.
parts car. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Or
just
from
transfer
parts.
it.
From what I understand, there's
not
very
easy.
strict regulations on that happening.
Oh, really?
There is.
Yeah.
I know in Oregon it's very hard to do.
Yeah,
I know in places like Florida it's pretty simple to do. You can
and Texas.
in Texas stuff like that. Yeah, you can get a VIN pretty simple for a car built from parts.
Oh,
Really?
well.
I didn't know that.
No.
Because I thought
No-
you could.
nothing I've ever looked into.
Yeah, I figured it'd be something like a kit car where you just go and then you just register it from there.
I mean, that's probably possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you've built it from all parts from 25 different cars or whatever in a
Exactly.
body from a market somewhere,
Well, yeah, and
I
it's,
don't know.
it's a pretty newly manufactured body too.
Right.
It probably got made in last year or so.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they keep those in stock or if it's made to order. Like when you order it.
Yeah, I've never checked.
Interesting
into that.
question. Yeah, I don't know either. So on your particular builds, say your convertible, what condition was that car when you started?
It was an all original car. It had never been. Nobody had ever modified it
Okay.
or anything.
Yeah.
Still in its original sheet metal. And those are the cars I look for.
Yeah,
That's why
Yeah.
it takes so long.
sure.
And it was, for the time, it was a fairly low mileage car. It was 20 years ago,
Yeah,
and it had 96,000 miles on it
yeah.
That's good.
And obviously in decent condition.
in decent condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and did you keep the motor in that one or did you LS swap that one too?
Everything I buy gets an LS swap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then what do you do with the original
love
motors
that.
and trans and stuff? Just huck them?
They're just
Okay.
gone.
Well, they're boat anchors, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. I know
They're-
some
they're-
people like matching numbers, you know what I mean? So
Oh, it makes no difference to me. I don't.
Me
yeah,
neither.
Cool.
They're never going back.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
My blue one,
Yeah.
that race, I still have the original engine, a drive line for that.
Drivetrain.
Yeah.
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 But you're
It's,
just,
it's just in the corner.
it's just
never
sitting
going
there
in.
because,
It's,
yeah.
yeah.
It's useless.
Would you still do
That's
something
how
like
I
that
feel.
for like a specialty Camaro, like if it was an old Copo or a 427 motor?
No.
Okay.
Those have to stay.
Yeah.
Even though mine was an SS, it's like fair
Yeah.
game.
Okay.
It doesn't matter at this point. I mean, what's the value in that car?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The value is,
I don't know either.
and you know, when I pick up a car like that, I pick it up with the intention I'm never selling this car.
Right. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, when was the last one that you purchased?
My blue one.
I don't know. How long ago was that though?
That was 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go through the restoration process. So even 9 years ago,
Well,
those were not inexpensive to pick up.
No, it wasn't.
What do you think of the prices of them now? Like when you see somebody selling a rolling chassis that's pretty used up, rusty, and they're asking 16 grand for it, no motor, no tranny, barely any components. It's insane.
It is insane. Yeah. And it makes me glad I'm not in the market right now.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
You know,
Since COVID, I think it just really got out of control.
I'm not sure why for these, because the earlier ones, like the 30s, 40s, 50s cars,
Right.
they're not doing that.
No, they're not.
No.
But the muscle car era,
Yep.
they're doing that.
Yep.
They're still drawing and big dollars, and it's increasing.
It could
I
be.
blame my generation.
Well, I was going to say, if I could throw some speculation out there,
I think you're right, Rob.
yeah.
I mean, COVID put a lot of people of life or death situation,
Yeah.
and a lot of people survived that. And some of those people were probably like, "Well, I'm limited time on this earth. I want the thing I've grown up with."
Sure.
You know?
Again, I blame my generation.
Yeah.
Because we grew up, you and I are roughly the same age. So we grew up with those cars as teenagers.
Right.
And
Affordable. Right?
then,
Were they?
yeah, absolutely. But then, you know, life happens. We sell those things. We get old enough now with a pocket full of cash, and we're like, you know what? I want one of those again
At any cost.
at any cost. And that's drives
what
the price up.
So you telling me when I'm your age, you're telling me the DeLorean, the Explorers, the Jeeps, all those from
You've
the movies?
already started. You have already started. And yes, absolutely. I'm surprised you're not shopping for a DeLorean right now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm always on the hunt for stuff.
Yeah. So,
And you know, that was the fun thing of when I was a teenager, these cars were introduced new.
Yeah.
right.
And it's like growing up with that in that era when those were the new cars and they were everybody was wanting.
Yeah.
That was something to live through.
Absolutely.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Is that why you got into Camaros, like specific Camaros? That one you remember being a kid, rather than say like a Mustang or like a Dodge? Like what drew you to the Camaros?
You know, I was around all of them, but I like the lines, the lines of the Camaro.
He's a Chevy guy, not a Ford guy.
I get it.
I mean, but
I had one Ford.
I'm just,
I mean, Grant brings up a good point. They all looked pretty good back then.
They
Yeah.
did.
And they were all competing with one another, so they had similar performance specs and all that, you know?
Yeah, the Cudas and
Yeah.
Challengers.
Yeah, I love the Cudas. Yeah, the
Yeah.
early 70s Cudas were my favorite. I mean, as far as looks and perform, but they didn't make as many of them
Yeah.
as the Camaros.
It's Camaros.
Yeah.
Well, and the Mustang is still, and that's probably why the early Mustangs are still affordable, is because they made so many.
so many of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny
But
thing about
true.
the Camaro. The first gen Camaro, there was 220 some thousand of
Yeah.
those made.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
They made that many?
They made that
I didn't
many
even know
in
that.
a
67.
three-year run.
In 67, it was about 220. In 68, it was about 235. And in 69, it was about 245.
Yeah.
God.
So I was gonna say I agree with you guys on the Mustangs that they're everywhere and you can get them still cheap, but I think the specialty Mustangs have gone astronomically insane.
yeah.
Like a 427 or a 428 Cobra Jet's like
if you
500
get the,
grand.
If you get
of course,
the
same with-
low run special cars, yeah.
You get a Shelby badge.
Yeah,
you get
same
anything,
with the
you know.
440 CUDA, you know? Those things are insane. They didn't
Well,
make
and
many
there's
of them.
certain Camaros that are that way too.
There are.
You know,
Yeah, the ZL ones,
the special build ones.
the Yankos.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite year of the first gen? Because it was what, 67, 68, 69. Derek went on a whole rant saying how they're all different. I know for me, like my favorite's the 67 because of the smoker windows, and I also that was the first Camaro ever driven was a 67 with the 545 engine in it. Like, what about you? What's your favorite gen or favorite
For year is 68.
It's 68. How come?
I like that body style or that shape of the 67, 68s. I like how they trimmed out the 68s as opposed to the 67. I just like the finish.
Okay.
The interior's better. And from a technical standpoint, I like the wiring harness on a 68 better.
Okay.
Those 67s are hard to deal with.
Really?
Yeah.
First year car, that's generally how they,
Is that what it is? First year cars. It
Yeah.
was just
Just
kind of a
sorted some
nightmare.
things out. Yeah.
They weren't quite ready for prime time.
Yeah.
Just like always, they put that stuff out anyway. Figure it out on the fly.
And I'm not a fan of the wing window.
Okay.
When you're putting one of those together, and when's your next one, by the way? Because you're about due. 9 years.
9 years.
It's time.
No, it's time to enjoy what I have.
Oh, come on now. You got to put another one in the shop. Start working on it.
No, that's that truck.
Oh, yeah?
That's
Truck.
the next one.
You're 72? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good
Is
idea.
that the one you said with a bunch of miles on it? The one you've had for years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm missing this story. I'm the listener right now. What?
You were late to the.
I was late to the
game.
party.
Late to the party. Yeah, go ahead and
Tell us
them.
about this
That's
truck.
good.
Oh, I have a 72 Cheyenne 4x4
Nice.
that I've had for 48 years.
Oh, wow. Holy crap.
But it has a lot of patina on it now.
Okay.
Because it's lived outside.
Yeah.
An outside vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great project.
What's your
workhorse.
plan with it then?
And I have what's that?
What's your plan with it?
I have a 6-liter for it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are you going to fully restore it or leave the patina and go?
No, I'm not a patina guy.
Okay.
I will restore it. I'm going to. I have the engine transmission. I need to bring it in and drop that in, drive it around for about a year, sort out the mechanicals on it,
Ah.
and then blow it apart and
Finish everything.
finish it.
Nice. Oh, I like that. Put the
very
mechanical
cool.
together and run it first and see how it is.
See how it is. Sort things out.
I like that.
That's hard to do with fresh paint.
Yeah, you don't want to touch
It
anything.
really
right?
is.
Yeah. No, that's yeah.
So there's a lot of things to work out.
Yeah. Well, that was my plan with the GMC too. Is I'm gonna put it together, run it, and then figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't want to pretty it up and then have to dig back into it or something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, where I was going was with your projects. Do you touch everything yourself, or do you farm out certain aspects of the build?
The only thing I will farm out is the upholstery
Okay.
and the final paint.
Yep.
It's laying the color down.
Do you do the body work?
Yes.
Nice.
I enjoy doing the body work.
That's some tedious stuff there.
It is.
Yeah.
I got some projects if you'd like to do them.
Yeah,
You know,
He's
it-
expensive.
that takes a special kind of guy, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
so
funny when you're doing
painful.
it for yourself.
Yeah,
It's much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah,
A lot
I
of-
definitely agree with that.
Pride and feeling that,
Yes.
when you see that finished product and you're like,
It's
turned
like
out the way I
sculpting.
wanted
But
it.
it's still monotonous.
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just compared to how much time it takes compared to every other aspect of a vehicle. It takes so much more time.
Takes so much time.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you work on it and you don't quite like the way it turned out,
You can just do it
just go
again.
back and do it again.
Yeah, it's right. That is cool. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't
A lot
know.
of control.
For someone like me who's a perfectionist and also an ADD person, that's like two combos that don't work out. Especially be like, oh, just spend hours on this. It's not done, but it's not perfect.
Well, yep, you'd be in there a
That's
long
hard
time.
stuff. Yeah. No doubt.
In fact, that was my original plan with that was to be on my tow vehicle.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Maybe someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say is the hardest part about doing a full restoration like that? Like really either the most tedious or the most frustrating, or what gives you fits?
What caused the most curse words?
Right. Well, yeah.
Motivation.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. Staying motivated for that
Staying
amount of time.
motivated to go out and do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just spent like a couple hours talking about that.
we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Would,
How do you keep going?
How do you keep
Yeah.
going? What's your recommendation? Ours was get a buddy to kick you in the butt and go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having somebody there,
Some kind of motivation.
even though they're not doing anything, just being there to motivate you to be there and doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having somebody there.
Do you often have some help or somebody to, I don't know, keep you moving?
Not generally.
Not generally. Yeah.
Most of the guys that I hang out with are
They're like, you're doing what? No, I'll see you later.
Well, they're probably
they're so
busy
far away.
too.
It's a tough drive. They live on the other side of Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And nobody wants to make that drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially during rush hour.
And they probably got their own projects going.
and they do. Yeah, we kind of go back and forth helping, but
Sure.
it's tough, and we're getting to the point now where projects are not as fun as they used to be.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
That motivation,
That burnout.
it does.
Yep.
It does happen.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. So we also kind of touched on if somebody's looking for a base, what you look for, but you're really particular. If somebody's not as particular, how much can they get away with and still have a good project car? That's a tough one. That's
That is a tough one. And that goes to very careful examination. I will get down and look in the rocker panels to make sure there's nothing hidden in there. If the rocker panels are good, the basic roof structure and upper sail panels of the car are good, and there's nothing going on around the windshield, and I would say it's a good project car.
Pretty good. Yeah. And you've done the basic looking in the trunk and all that stuff. And
Yeah, to get to where you're going. Floor pans,
right.
Trunk pan, they're pretty common.
Yeah.
Trunks.
A lot of that stuff can be replaced. How difficult is that? I mean, you've got to have somebody that knows how to weld that stuff. But
Yeah.
Weld and shape metal.
yeah.
Bend pipe and use a English wheel or a hammer and rock.
Well, not
Replacement
necessarily.
parts.
Yeah, they sell those
Panels.
parts anymore that you can just
Yeah, every panel's available.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just cut them in.
It's just extra work.
It's just work. It's time. How much time do you want to put in?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other side of that is skill.
How deep is
That's
your
true
pocketbook?
too. Yeah. And not everybody can do it.
Not everybody can do it.
How much more in depth is a restoration on a convertible versus a coupe? Or is one more complex than the other? Because you definitely have with one more structure than the other one. You know what I mean?
Overall, I would say that the convertible is probably easier depending on where it's lived its life.
Yeah.
If it's just the basic, trunk pan and a little floor work, yeah, they're probably easier. The bracing is a little harder on the convertible.
Okay.
Because it doesn't have that roof structure, so you have to be very careful that you've done a proper bracing job before you start cutting things. But yeah, I'd say the convertible is probably a little easier without the roof structure and working around the rear
Glass.
window and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any in your early builds, any mistakes you made or anything and be like, I wish I would have gone back and redid this, whether it was your project or someone else's project you worked on?
Yeah, you learn how to hang quarters. That's the big one.
Okay.
Is learning how to properly hang a quarter. That was something that took a little bit to figure out.
Okay.
Not that doing one is wrong. As long as everything lines up, it's good. But there's little techniques to make it easier. I guess easier.
Make it easier on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
A process.
And you're talking about the front fender or the rear section or?
The quarter panel.
Yeah, the rear quarter panel. Okay, yeah. So, and you're patching these in too? You've done that before?
I haven't done patches only if the pinch weld around the wheel well
Okay.
is bad. I like to keep as much original metal as possible.
Sure.
So I'll do that rather than replace a quarter. I will do the patch panel behind the rear tire. I will patch that.
Okay.
If there's much more damage than that, as much as I hate to, I will cut it off and put a new one in.
Yeah. Just depends on how much is there, how
much
much
is
you
there.
need to replace.
Yeah.
What's yeah.
I'll do a skin instead of a full quarter
Yeah. Gotcha.
because there's less there. It's a lot more welding, but
Yeah.
in the end, it makes a nicer job.
Sure. Yeah.
And I do not like a lap weld.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people do that, and you look in the trunk and you see it. It's like, what?
Yeah. So could a novice take on a project like that and be successful? Just your regular garage mechanic, never restored a car.
If they have an experienced person to guide them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I would say no. That's not the
If
one
they
to
had the
start on.
experienced,
Yeah. Yeah.
but not on their own.
Right.
No.
I think it would depend on how much time they have. If you got all the time in the world, then
well,
someone can finish
That
it.
too, but
Well, the other side is it's where'd your skill level start?
Yeah.
I was I guess a little luckier is that I have a welding degree, so I already knew
how to get that done.
how to get that part done.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to learn that skill on the fly, and that made a big difference in a lot of it.
I would think a novice that doesn't have a lot of those skills, never restored a car, if he's looking at one that has rust or is going to need patch panels or this or that, you better have some friends that know how to do some stuff. Or somebody that can cut you a little break on getting it done, because there's going to be some hire out, or your project's not really going to turn out very good.
It's not, yeah. And you won't know it until you get ready to assemble it.
You're right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, something's
don't
not
fit.
right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that's too big a project for your first one. Should start with a Fiat.
Yeah. I've got stories on that one. Fix it again, Tony.
That guy, Tony, he's always doing stuff more than once.
Yeah.
So you'd kind of mentioned that one of your cars left you stranded. How many times that happened on one of your own builds? Or even somebody else that calls you up and said, hey, this car that you built for me, I'm stuck out in the desert.
My own builds, probably like 5 times.
Oof.
For various
4 times too many.
trips. Yeah.
Yeah. Just...
And nothing that didn't get accomplished, but just for various reasons.
Yeah.
I had a problem and I had to resolve it.
Yeah. Were you able to field fix it and get back going again, or
Sometimes.
sometimes? Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I had to have them towed in somewhere and
Yeah.
so I could get to access to things.
Yeah. Just never know.
The worst was a transmission
Oh,
went out on a trip.
yeah. You can't see that coming.
No.
Not
Well,
really.
TV cable.
A what?
A TV cable on the 204R. That's the cable that goes to the carburetor linkage,
Oh.
and it controls the shift points
Okay.
Wow.
and the transmission
crazy.
pressures.
Okay.
And it jumped off its little
Huh.
pulley system on the carburetor, and
Wow.
it went to shift gears, and it just
Zip.
free revved.
Oh man.
And shortly after that, it was gone.
I bet.
So,
That sounds right.
on a road trip
Yeah. Shoot.
in Redding, California, had to have it rebuilt overnight.
Oh man.
Wow.
Wow.
But they got you running by the next day, huh?
They did.
With something like that, did you know the shop already and you just be having a good place, good time, or just enter a shop and be like, hey, can you do this overnight? Here's a boatload of money. A lot of prayer.
It's a boatload of money.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, pull out that credit card
Yeah.
and smile when you do it because
Yep.
you're stuck.
Yeah.
That stinks. So this is a question from Grant, and I wasn't. So
Oh.
if I get this wrong,
Okay.
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 So you race your '68 Camaro, the coupe. It's a fairly heavy car. Was racing in the thought when you were building it, or is it an afterthought?
When I initially built it, it was to just have a fun driver.
Okay. Yeah. So racing came along afterwards. You're like,
Yeah.
well, I've got this. We can.
Racing had always been in my mind.
Okay.
I'd always wanted to race,
Yeah.
but I didn't build it with that in mind. The racing came from going to LS Fest.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I finally got on the track down there and said, I want to do this.
Nice.
Yeah. You got the bug.
Got the bug.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'd already built full suspension aftermarket, front clip, rear suspension,
Okay.
all aftermarket.
Yeah.
And I raced it down there one year. And then the next year it was like, nope, I'm going all the way.
Yeah.
Tubs.
So did you do the LS Fest in Vegas or okay? Because they do that in Texas also, don't they?
That happened after Vegas.
Okay.
They started that one after Vegas.
Okay.
It's the one in the East that started 10 years before the Vegas one.
All right.
And I always wanted to go to that one.
Yeah.
But that's a long haul.
It's a long haul.
And I was never in
know.
a position to do it.
I want to do the time attack at Coda, but that's a long haul.
Long haul, yeah.
We'll get back to that, but you brought up LS Fest, and I want to hear about that. Yeah. So how many times have you done it?
I've been down to the West Coast one every year but the first year.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
And the only reason I missed the first year was I only heard about it 2 weeks before the event was going to happen.
Gotcha.
And I did not have time to put it together to go.
Okay.
But yeah, I go down. I will do that every year.
That's awesome. Like, so what's that experience like?
Well, what is LS Fest? Is it just literally a giant meet with just LS swap cars of all variety, or what?
Yeah, anything
so.
powered by LS or LT.
Okay.
Any of the new generation motors.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be new vehicles or swapped, and they put those motors in everything.
Does it go even like to the extreme? Like I know planes have put LS motors into it, or like people bring boats down with LS motors, or
They've been there,
yeah. Wow.
but there's no
mostly
place for
cars.
them to compete.
Yeah.
So they do put them through competition. What kind of competitions?
Autocross,
Okay.
the 3S,
What's 3S?
Speed Stop,
Oh, okay.
and what else do we do? Oh, they do drags,
Okay.
but I'm not so into the drag. I generally don't do that. I might do it just to see what it will do, but
And then road course.
and
Is it time attack or?
what they do is they set up an autocross on the road course.
Oh, okay.
So they call it a track X.
Yeah.
So like track cross, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Done that before.
So
Okay.
that's fun.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
It's a high speed version of autocross.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Track cross is
And
something
so, are you scored as all the events, or are they scored separately?
You have, well, how do they score that? I guess I don't pay attention to that part.
Yeah.
I just look at my times and compare them to the other guys that are
Yeah.
in my class.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I was just curious if they did a combined all together, or if like you only wanted to do the autocross and the road or the track cross. You know, you could do that, but are you missing out on scoring?
Yeah, they do have, I signed up for what they call the Grand Champion,
Okay.
which allows me to compete in any of the events. Then they have the autocross only,
Okay.
and then they have drag only.
Oh, okay.
And then they do off-road there, and
I think they do drifting and stuff, right? Yeah.
They do
wow,
drifting. They do
Ooh, I know where Ian's going.
I would
a
love
major
to go.
burnout contest down
Yeah.
there.
Oh, really?
Oh, a
That's
crazy burnout contest. They do, I call it blow up your motor, but they do dyno challenge.
Yeah. Let's blow up your car.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And I think
So,
that's it.
have they had that already this year, or when is it?
It's in the last week in April,
Okay. Nice.
last weekend. In April.
And how'd you do this year? Had a good time.
Had a good time.
Yeah. How long is the event?
It's a 3-day event.
Okay.
okay.
Over a weekend, or is it a weekday thing?
Yeah, it starts on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Nice. Well, I know what I'm doing next April.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to go.
yeah.
Be down for
Grant's been
that.
talking about
Yeah.
wanting to go.
Yay.
Let's
It's-
sign. You have to find something with an LS in it.
I think I
Come
could
over,
figure out
Grant.
something.
We're just going to LS
may-
swap the Mustang.
I see
Well,
two
maybe the
Corvettes
ghost
out
car.
there.
Yeah. There's a
know?
couple Corvettes out there.
We could also do the LS swap.
Ooh,
with
you
this car.
need to. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
We need to get you that 78 Pace Edition.
That's true. No, that would be one thing I'd probably do is instead of building up that 350 that's in it, swap it to an LS motor.
Yep.
You know, I think that'd be pretty good for that. I don't know if that would be too much power for that for
the
that
chassis?
chassis just as is though.
No idea.
So I know how to fix that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just stiffen it up and put some bars in it.
No,
No,
put an extreme frame in that thing.
That sounds expensive. Doesn't it?
It's only money. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true. It's only money.
Comes and goes.
with it. What are you doing with it now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's true on that one.
Letting it sit in a bank somewhere. That's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's cool. The LS Fest. I've seen it, but social posts and that kind of stuff. Never really talked to anybody that's done it, but that sounds pretty awesome.
it'd be fun to bring a car down there with the trailer, and then we could just have an episode in the trailer.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Or I could
Yeah,
just
that would-
go
there's
play
a-
at LS Fest.
Yeah, that would be an interesting event to go
Yeah,
to.
for sure.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people to talk to down there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm sure we'd work that in. And because Ian wants to go now too. And he's
Yeah.
got an LS in his car. So,
So
that's
there
legit.
you go.
Perfect.
We're
I'll
just-
bring it.
If we start planning now,
Yeah,
by the time April comes around, we got it.
Yeah,
I agree.
that is one of my will not miss events.
That's
Wow.
cool. That
feel
says
like-
a lot.
I feel like by the time April comes around, everyone but me, including Jeremy, is going to have an LS in their car.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
hope so.
already set. So
Yeah, me too.
a couple of them.
Well, and then the weekend after, is Optima at Laguna Seca.
Oh,
That's
I
cool.
was going to ask you about
That'd be
Optima
fun.
because
So
I
you
know
just
you're doing
stay
that.
down there?
Yeah. I drive home.
Okay.
If I had an enclosed trailer and someplace to park it, I probably would stay down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
How come you don't have an enclosed trailer? I know you have a trailer.
well, because I'm kind of just getting into this.
Okay.
This is only my third year of racing.
Okay.
And one of those things that,
Yep.
Is it something you plan on getting?
You know what? For that week, we could probably find you at least a trailer to borrow.
Yeah, like we could use
We know
mine
people.
or Rob's. Yeah,
What are you going to haul yours in then?
drive it. Mine are always factory, so
Okay.
it'll be able to.
All right. See you later when you're broke down on the side of the road. This is not the group that stops. We keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
You are stranded.
Catch up later.
Yep.
but you know, the other thing I find is driving home, I like to come home and spend a day and kind of repack and
And then turn around and drive back.
turn around and drive back.
Wow.
Man, you like to drive.
I like to drive.
I actually do like
All
to
right.
drive too. I enjoy it.
I enjoy it. I enjoy
I
the
don't
road.
enjoy it that much. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
make the trip down and back, whatever. But
I enjoy the road trips.
yeah,
The road trips are fun. In and
Yeah,
of
I agree.
themselves.
I enjoy them too.
We plan our trips in certain ways that we see some sights and have a good time on
Yeah.
the trips. And,
Yeah.
And Justin and I always go down together.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Z tow as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about Optima, because I know some people that do it, you included, was invited to do it last year and chickened out. I don't know. What's that event like?
Where were you thinking of going?
Portland.
Portland?
That's the one I want to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Portland's run by the same people that run LS Fest.
Okay.
The format is autocross,
Start
road
stop,
course.
road course,
speed
street
stop,
drive.
street drive.
Engineering.
Engineering is my
Teeny.
downfall.
What's that?
Design
and engineering.
Yeah, where you talk about what you've done to your car to make it better for the track, better perform better.
Okay.
Well, doesn't it? It's also street though, right? Like it's supposed to be the ultimate combination of track and street.
And they want full interiors.
Right.
Okay.
They want all of your amenities to work.
Street cars.
Streetcar, radio, sound system, whatever.
Yep.
Heater works.
Yep.
Blinkers, everything works.
AC.
There's a
Literally
street
checking
car.
off Liger every list on them. Like, okay,
Yep.
Yeah, and you've got it all.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's also the outlaw class where you don't have to do D&E,
Well,
I didn't know
Yeah.
about that.
right?
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Duke
You've-
runs an outlaw.
Duke runs outlaw.
Yes.
He pretty much dominates outlaw.
Dominates it, right? But yeah, if you don't want to do D&E, I guess that's where you go. I don't know what the other drawbacks are of that.
You just don't score as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's and that's where
And that's fine. I mean,
I
if
don't
you're-
score well in it,
Yeah.
but I'm just there to have fun.
Yeah, yeah. If you're just there to have fun, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, my car looks fine, but I don't really care to do D&E either. I don't want to have to deal with it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But you just they have their list of criteria that they go down.
Okay.
They follow that list. And so if you print that up and just go down point
Basically
by
check
point,
it off. Yeah.
then they can follow along.
So
And it's easier for them.
you have to have these certain things to compete?
Well,
Or you just get
scored badly.
deducted.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Deducted, yeah.
Yeah, they're like interior, trunk,
Sure.
engine bay,
Okay.
paint, suspension, brakes. They wanted you to talk about all those things that you've done
Okay.
to
Wow.
make the car better for the track.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool.
It is cool.
I should that's an expensive event, though. That also kind of turned me off.
How much is it? Roughly.
$700.
$575.
That's not bad.
Really? Because when I looked, it was like $7.
That's $575.
Okay.
But that's not bad for the
That's
competition you get, as well as track day and like everything combined.
Well, and that's why I like to go to Laguna Seca, because how often do you get a chance to run on that track?
Right.
Yeah, that track's nuts.
With no sound limits.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big one. I didn't even think of
Because
that.
we run with the Trans Am, the SVRA, and that day is no sound limits on all the tracks we run at.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, that might also have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
Should we circle back to tracks and bigger cars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, I was going to ask, so John, because you're racing your Camaro, what if someone was to get into like a bigger style of car, what would you say to persuade them to stay in or to get out of that? Like, I drive a Mustang, you drive a Camaro, but definitely us, it's not a Miata. What would you say if someone's like, I want to drive a Camaro, a Challenger, something big and wide? Why would you tell them to do that?
He wouldn't.
But I would say drive what you enjoy driving.
That's what I was going to say too. If you like it, drive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to be competitive necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to get a C5 and do the modifications, it would be more competitive.
Yeah.
But I enjoy driving when I drive.
Exactly.
I was kind of going to go down that rabbit hole too and ask you, that's why I asked if the car came before the racing bug, right? And it did. But if it hadn't, would you have chosen something else to race?
No.
No? You'd still be like, that's what I want.
That's what I want.
Nice. Okay. No, that's cool.
I mean, that's my car. I love that car.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I want to run.
Yeah.
I want to do whatever I can with that. Not to the car, but with the way it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to do as well as I can.
Yeah. It's a beautiful car too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
good.
just a great car. Yeah. That was just kind of curious if there was ever another car that you thought you would get into to race or whatever. But
Yeah.
that answers it. You got something else?
Yeah, like I say, it would be the C5 probably or C6.
I was gonna say for me, it's kind of the same thing. Everyone knows I love my Mustang, and it's one of the reasons to drive it. It's different. It's fun. It's the car I grew up with. I love that car. But also, like how we're building the Ghost car is like I know Liger's not the most competitive car. Building a car to be just for competitive, but at the same time, I still have a car that when I bring it out to the track, I'll be able to enjoy it because that's what she brings and does.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah. Being able to build a separate car, purpose built, that'll be fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm reading things.
Okay.
So I was one of the questions I had to ask John, and Ian, you might be able to put in this one. When's a good time to pioneer either new technology into a build you're doing or a new technique to a restoration project or any kind of project? A new technique as in process for building or okay. Like if you've done it so many years a certain way and someone's like, I've got a better mousetrap, do it this way,
Anytime that presents itself and you look at it as a better process, that's the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just jump in.
There is no.
Yeah. You're not the type of person digging your heels and like, nope, this is the way I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if I see something that looks better, works easier, well, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if I found somebody with more experience and more know-how on the chassis I'm working on or looking at, like I'm gonna use what they offer me, essentially.
What about when it comes to technology side? If you find something that just seems innovative, when would you put that into your build? Whether that's like say a new tuning software and that's way more advanced, or whether it's say you're fine with this LS motor that you've been using, like an LS3, but the LS7 way better motor. Like when's the time to upgrade it or time to advance?
I kind of feel like if it's worked and it works for you and you can tune with it, like I don't, it's like you see the guys with the Motec stuff, like that's expensive stuff, and you got to build it from scratch, and I couldn't imagine using Motec for tuning or wiring, but I know guys do it and they do it with, it works for them, but I just prefer to use something that works.
Yeah, and as far as that for me, it's I have a system that works for that as far as engine control, and I don't anticipate changing.
Okay.
I don't anticipate anything working better than what I'm doing now. It may be easier from the start, but I'm already where I want to be. So I don't see anything
Unless it got just smarter with
Sure.
with the same controls. Basically, you know how to use it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Ooh, that was something that you had brought up, Grant. Was using AI.
Yeah, so that was one thing is we talked in a previous episode with Monia about using AI on tuning and how to use that. Have you thought about using that, or did you listen to that episode and what did you think of that?
I didn't see that actual episode, but I would be curious to see how it's implemented.
Yeah,
I would look into it if it was a possibility.
It's interesting because, like, the fact that you can have a computer take all, like, one thing we were discussing was like to have it take in all sensor data from there, and instead of having, like, say a check engine like come on say, oh, this is probably what the problem is, be like, okay, well, it's looked at the time and data that's had before and access the internet and say, oh, this is what happened, and pinpoint your problem or able to correct it on the fly. That was one thing Moni was saying, is that AI is able to, correct for like tuning tables on the fly.
Yes.
Without having any input on there.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And what's cool is you can implement it. You can use different setups. You can use like a GM PCM, and you can use like a Toyota steering rack and all this stuff and make it all work with, the Arduino and using AI.
Yeah, like you could have AI take, like, because he was using an Arduino to do a sniffer for a Toyota rack and pinion that's electric, to find the code off that, and then would have another Arduino tell the GM ECU, this is actually GM, and this is the code for it. And it would adapt that while being two separate components from different factories.
That went way over my head.
That would be interesting.
Like,
yeah.
No, he's right. It's pretty interesting stuff. But
but I would still like to know what is actually happening. In that process.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to just blindly rely on something like that happening. I would still want to know what the process is and what's happening.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
What it's actually telling the processor.
What it's seeing and what it's feeding back to the other processor. I'd like to see what it's actually doing to know. I don't like just blindly trusting technology.
Yeah, that's true.
It's interesting to see, though, that the future, especially like a possibility for tuning, is that, like how Moni is getting into it, is using AI to help develop, softwares and maps and all sorts of stuff. So that way it's just more of a gateway to get into,
Yeah, I think it can. I think it can relieve some of that learning curve that you probably ran into, John, in the early days.
I think it could.
Yeah.
But it's like the kids now using calculators to do the math instead of knowing how to do the math.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
I would still want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Or people just using Google, like say you have a math problem and you now, instead of just using a calculator, they'll put the math problem in Google, say answer, and just have here's 42. That's what I need to tell my teacher. How'd you get that work?
I asked Google.
Yeah. And then maybe they had the click button to show the working, just write down what exactly it did, without knowing
Never know how to get there yourself.
That's true.
Yep.
And then you're relying on it too, where you couldn't do it without internet or technology.
Right.
Whereas like you could tune a car without the internet, I'm sure, with your setup.
I had another thought, and then Google AI popped in there and ruined it.
How dare it?
I know. Blanked out. I don't know. Did you got anything else there?
I got more, but it's also, I'm bad at reading paper and going through the stuff. Someone talk while I read.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I'm ready to move on. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you another thing, that when I got into the modern engines with their modern sensors and everything, and electronic throttle control, in order to know exactly what's going on in those, you have to see electronically what the signals are. That's why I also got into oscilloscope.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So that I could
You could see it happening. Yeah.
in real time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And zero in and see if there's a glitch or anything happening.
Bump, a spike, something weird going on. Yeah. Do you often run into feedback? Do you get electromagnetic feedback that causes issues, or, I mean, and this is from
I'm curious
our industry. We get that a lot. So, just curious if that I guess you don't really run into CAN bus running on the old stuff.
Interference.
But occasionally you get crossover.
Okay. Yeah.
When things are running next to each other when you really don't want them.
Okay. And you can see that. You should be able to see that on the scope.
You can see the randomness of the signal.
Okay. And then you have to go through and separate your wires out or isolate. And that's a hassle, but probably worth it, I suppose.
Worth it in the end.
Yeah.
To get good, clean data.
Clean signal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few questions. Now I ask these questions, we're going to interrupt the flow of this because literally question going on question, but I do have some.
Well,
so
let's talk about it.
One of the ones I came up with, it says, when racing an older vehicle, does racing take more of a toll on that car since it's older? Like, do you find that at all or not?
No, because you build a car to the level to be able to
The level at what you want to drive it.
drive it, to be able to handle the stresses.
Okay.
Which you've done. You did full brakes on both your cars? Mm-hmm. Okay. What, you used Willwood systems?
I used Bear on my race car.
I'm sorry, say again?
I used Bear
okay.
on my race car.
Okay.
And for my convertible, you were talking about this in one of your last previous episodes about junkyard crawls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love those.
Yeah.
I found information on adapting late model PBR systems from Camaros and Corvettes
Oh, okay.
onto the earlier. It's a direct bolt-on.
Oh, cool.
It is. It's a direct bolt
That's
on.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you have to get an
is
adapter
really
or anything?
No, it's a
direct bolt on.
direct bolt-on. Oh, well, for the fronts, I had to make it a little adapter.
Okay,
There's
sure.
companies that make them now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying you had to probably
Okay.
just buy one little
For the
bracket.
front, yeah.
Yeah,
But for the rear, it's a direct bolt-on.
that's great.
Wow. That's really
Took
cool.
them right off 4th gen Camaros and
Bolted it up.
bolt them right on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's also awesome because you kind of the brakes on the originals were not that great. So
No, they weren't.
yeah, what'd you do for master cylinder setup? Is it still a vacuum style deal or?
When I originally put it together, I used a vacuum. It worked. It wasn't as effective as I wanted.
Okay.
So now I've gone with Hydro Boost.
Okay, yeah,
And that is awesome.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and is that an electric setup? Is that what that comes from or?
No, it's off the power steering pump.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
oh wow.
Yeah. So it's using
Wow.
I'm going to have to look
That's
into that
interesting.
because I think
Yeah.
that's
That
what's
sounds
happening
great.
to our Cobra.
Mustangs had that.
Did they? Okay.
Cobras in the 90s, late 90s, I believe.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into it. So, like I was telling you guys earlier, so with the Shelby Cobra that's outside, that car in the cornering or at any kind of load that's on it, as soon as you start applying the brakes more than like 30% or a good strut force, tends to kill it. And I haven't decided if that's with the carburetor, the dish going forward and flooding it, or if it's the vacuum being pulled, into the booster and killing the
It's
power
killing
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was a thing. The hydropower,
Yeah, hydro boost. I
Boost.
think.
hydro boost.
I had looked up a couple of the other systems. There's some different ones out there because the GMC is going to need something, right, to make all that work. Yeah, I was just curious how you went about it.
Yeah. I bought a setup for my pickup.
Oh, did you?
It works so well.
Nice.
And is it a aftermarket pump with bungs on it, or
No, it's just a GM pump.
okay,
Yeah.
with a different reservoir, or how does it?
No, it's the same.
Okay,
It just right off the pump, it plumps into the Hydro Boost, and then if it's not being used in the Hydro Boost, it bypasses into the power steering, and then
Oh,
the returns.
so do you lose power steering when you step on the brakes?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah. No. Because it's kind of cycling through.
Okay.
Okay.
It goes through from one to the other.
Yeah.
It's in series.
Okay.
So yeah.
does the PSI change at all when you adapt that system?
No.
Okay, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that was a thing either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into
That's that'll be a game changer. I'm gonna need something like that.
that. So another one of the questions I had is, especially since you've done so many builds for other people, how do you know when you're helping a buddy out versus when you're being taken advantage of? Like, have you ever ran into that situation, or have any of you guys run into that situation?
No, not really. I mean, I offer help a lot.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of people don't take me up on it. So, if I've offered to help, bring it. Whatever you got.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like if I'm offering, they're taking advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't get into that situation as much anymore. But when I was doing it, I just offer to help, and if I'm offering, then there's no advantage being taken.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's move on to a more positive note, because you told me the story on this one, and I know you guys haven't heard this one, but I know all your cars have names on them.
Oh, they do.
And I wanted to hear or to tell our listeners about the names and why they're named.
This goes back to breakdowns.
Okay.
My convertible.
Yeah.
It's named Kitty. And the reason it's named Kitty, because they all have their own personality,
Okay.
is we'll be cruising along on a trip, just nice. Everything's good, seeing sights, everything's happy. And then you get a breakdown. And to me, that's like the car's just purring along happily.
Yep.
And then it turns around and starts scratching your eyes out.
Yep, I can see that. All right, that makes sense.
And then Rowdy's, my blue one,
Just
a race car.
Rowdy.
It just, when I got it, it was all stock. And I had a 383 I'd built for drag racing back 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was pretty stout built. And I wanted a stronger motor to put in until I put the LS in for a year. So I dropped that one in, and it was kind of a rowdy motor, made it kind of rowdy. So I just got the name Rowdy.
Nice. Yeah. Still haven't come up with one for mine.
No? You've never had a car that's been named?
No.
Me neither.
Really?
No.
Wow.
And it's funny because to me, cars talk to you.
Yeah, I agree.
They tell you exactly what their personality is, and that's where the names come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a connection with cars, but like not like that.
Right. Yeah.
I think it comes to, like, for example, other than Liger, none of my cars have been named. It's either the Excursion, the Explorer, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Liger has a significant meaning. Have we ever told about the story on that on the show about Ligers?
I don't think so.
Is this a good time to tell about that?
Sure.
Okay, sweet. So, so everyone knows Liger's an 07 GT Mustang. And how she came to the name of that one was, growing up, I grew up with cars with a lot of horsepower and a lot of, sporty and fast cars. Right. So, coming home one day, I was surprised in the driveway, there was a bright red Mustang sitting there. That was my old man's graduation gift to me, was Liger. I was very grateful and very surprised at the time. I was like, oh, wow. That being said, driving her right off the bat, that was the most wild car I've ever been in. No matter what, the throttle would be too twitchy and the wheels would bust loose. It would go sideways. You'd be cruising along at 60 and look down and it would be 100. And just because your foot just moved a little bit, everything about that car just was like, I'm doing its own thing, doing whatever it wants. And it would get really frustrating. And enough time would pass by, years or whatever it would take, and I'd be like, okay, I could drive this car decent and it's in control and I know what's going on and whatnot. But then it got to a whole nother level where, me and Liger would start going on back road country road driving and really going. And I felt like Liger to me is like a samurai in its sword, where me driving the car is more of an extension of my body, not just two separate things, but one thing acting together, one unit. So by that, growing up, I also grew up with a TV show way back in the day called Zoid's Chaotic Century, where the main character, Bit Cloud, had this giant mechanical robot known as the Liger Zero, and it had its own mind, its own personality, and they would go into battle and be totally fighting with each other. And then you would see them as they go through different battles and journeys throughout their adventure, and they'd be communicating, and they'd still be fighting decent. But by the end, you would see two beings being one and going into battle, and nothing would be able to stop them. And so with Liger, my Liger, I felt like I went through the same journey as Bit Cloud, and that's why Liger's named the Liger Zero, because that whole journey was a process that I went with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little glimpse into how Grant's mind works.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun journey.
Yeah.
Was that an anime by chance?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, shocker.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He left that part out. He had to guess. Shocker. Yep.
So
I wanted to ask you, John, and I think I know where you stand on this, but resto-mod versus restoration. Which way do you lean?
Oh, I lean resto-mod.
Yeah. Yeah.
I build my cars to drive them.
Build it the way you want it.
And
I'm with
that?
you.
And
I'm with you.
if I had to leave a car stock, I wouldn't have it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a place in that time for a stock car, whether using a piece
restoration?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Or, like,
If it's one of those very unique cars,
yeah.
and I have room in my garage for it, then there is.
Yeah.
But since
I'd
I like to
still wanna
drive my
mod it.
cars, yeah.
I'd still want to mod it. I'm sorry. You guys can hate me for it, but man,
No,
I just can't. Yeah,
there's-
like,
To each his own. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people like that. So I think that's okay. I suppose if you go off the deep end with your modifications and it doesn't even look like the original car anymore, then maybe that's something. But
yeah, you're right. There's a fine line depending on what you're doing with the car.
right. But I think there's, especially when we're talking about, 50-year-old cars or
Need
more.
it.
Well, yeah. Let's bring them up to some standards of today. We've got better suspension, better braking, better a lot of things. It can still have the essence of the original car, but be better. So why not?
Question.
Okay.
This is totally random, but on topic, but random.
Surprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
1930s, okay? Model A's were out for, 30 years plus by then, and people came up with hot rodding. Mm-hmm. Is that resto-modding back then?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's resto modding.
Because-
Well, I guess if it was a 30-year-old car
Yeah.
originally, sure.
If you were to take a Model A and restore it back to, 1909 or whatever it is, but the fact is, and a lot of people, would modify and put a flat V8 in them, flat head,
Yeah.
and just go down.
Yeah. It was resto modding in the 30s.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
I know.
I think yes.
Yes,
That's
okay.
the answer.
I agree.
So hot rodding is
I
the
agree.
original term for resto mod. So that's what it was.
Yeah, kind
There we
of.
go.
I think so.
So what's that mean?
Absolutely.
What's that mean now? Like when we get to 30-year-old Teslas and you resto mod?
No, those are throwaway cars, Grant. We
Yeah.
know this.
Yeah.
There's no rebuilding one.
You just throw an LS in it, call it good. People are doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, with the batteries and I don't know. I just don't see anybody really meticulously going through with those cars with like, I'm going to make it original. Like,
What's nuts?
I just don't see it.
It's actually nuts.
I have an
though.
original
people who like
original
those,
Cybertruck.
They use it as an appliance.
You know what? I could actually see people restoring an original Prius, like the early gen. Like that's still on the same era, and same probably with the first gen Teslas.
Why?
Because of their importance.
Why?
I don't know about that.
Why?
Because like we were saying, for a museum piece or unique one,
I could see a museum
Yeah.
having something like that as a historical
Serial number 1 Prius.
something.
The Pre-I.
This,
Yeah.
This is
The Pre-I.
Yeah.
I'm with Rob. Why?
Yeah, why? I mean, historical relevance, I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, a single museum has one. That's enough. No more. You don't need any more of those.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, probably same with the PT Cruiser.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and somebody's got one with like 4 miles on
It's
it.
pristine, man. It's the best version ever.
Oh my gosh.
I know, so bad. Grant had also, when we were talking earlier this week, brought up something about
I'm always talking.
always. He calls me 3 times a day.
Jeremy's phone. That's like a dozen.
Yeah, but he's out of service. That's why you're calling me more, is you can't get in touch with him. He's in Alaska with no cell service. That's what it
Ian,
is.
just wait.
He has your
Call me
number. He's
too.
not calling you?
Not yet.
Damn. All right. So our conversation was about tuning and that kind of stuff. But in your guys' opinion, John, you too, what manufacturers are leaving stuff on the table still with new cars that are
Yeah,
coming
I
out?
forgot.
But,
We were talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about, because now you can take your car back and for $850, they'll retune it and give you an extra
Yeah.
50 or whatever horsepower.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the last episode we talked about, I don't know if you guys heard this one yet, but the last episode me and Rob we're talking about trucks.
Yeah.
And the two we were talking about were the Ranger and the Bronco. We say they're decent, but we wish they had more power.
Right.
Because I think it was like 300 or 400 horses.
Yeah.
And within
Maximum.
that week,
Yeah.
Ford announced that they have a new program. You bring either a Bronco or Ranger to a dealership. they for $850 will now add an extra 50 horses and 100 pounds of torque to them, and the Ranger I think is 75 horses, and it will still be covered under warranty.
Yeah. They'll retune it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What do you think of that? The sideways look is like, really?
Yeah, what are they doing to not do that?
Well, they've detuned them in the first place to make them quote unquote last longer.
Mileage.
Sure. Yeah.
so?
Fuel economy.
EPA.
Yeah.
Gonna
EPA
change.
is driving that.
Oh yeah, they are.
Initially,
Oh, yeah, sure. So initially
That's
they
really
sell it off the
TM
lot.
Act.
at this efficiency rate.
Exactly. The retune doesn't count.
Yes.
That's really smart.
Kind of.
That's
No, I mean, that's the thing about it. You
shouldn't
can
have
also a
to deal
money.
with it.
It's also a money grab.
It's a money grab, but if you don't have the emission credits as
Yep.
say a Ford or a Chevy or whatever that they can do as a corporate to spend,
Yep.
if you detune a car and have that and say now your
We sold it off
your
the lot at
dealerships
this.
are now doing that. They
Yeah.
still could, now you can have, say 600 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbo.
When they sold it off the lot, it was only 400 horsepower.
Yeah, or something like that.
Bring
yeah.
it back a year later, and for $1,000, we'll retune it. Now you've got all the ponies available.
But we were asking, what do you guys think of any factory or any companies right now that are possibly doing that? Like, my thought is like, we know the Toyota Supra is detuned because of the BMW. Like, is there any other cars out there you see that have horses and torque still on the table?
Probably every truck they sell.
yeah.
Yeah, every diesel truck, every half ton, probably, I would bet, especially in the diesel market. They detune that stuff, I mean, just for longevity.
Yeah.
Because those things will put out so much power, they'll twist their transmission in half.
Fact.
So probably all of those. And if you get it, well, you can't even legally get them tuned anymore and take
Not
it.
here.
Yeah.
No.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's different in other states or what.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, you can tune anything up in Washington.
Got to cross the river then. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you take it to a dealership down here, they won't work on it.
I know, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they know that you've been in it.
Yep. Yep. As soon as they plug their computer in, they know.
Yep.
Yep.
That might explain a lot. Sorry, I'll tell you guys. I've showed things I'm doing in my truck.
Yeah. Well, my last truck had a tune in it when I bought it, and I couldn't tell you what it was. I knew it had some EGR delete and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then I had some issues, took it to a dealership, and they're like, nope, can't work on it. It's like, oh, fuck.
But yours was a Canadian car too. I thought it came with all
was.
that deleted.
Well, it was aftermarket delete, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was the problem. So I was kind of screwed. So, yeah, that's an issue.
Okay.
It is. I mean, I think that emissions laws are,
Yeah.
not my thing.
Right. No, I'm with you. You got anything else
Yeah.
on there?
I was gonna say, do you guys think it's still a good idea that dealerships are doing that? Like you brought up, but its longevity is probably bad for it.
Suspect.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But do you think that's a good idea that dealerships should be offering that, or should that be left up to third party people being into that, or bring it to aftermarket shops?
I think it's cool. I mean, I think anybody getting more power is cool. Personally, especially for such an affordable rate.
If the dealership wants to do it and stand
warranty.
behind it.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather have the dealership do it and maintain warranty. If you still have warranty.
Yes.
If you don't, then it doesn't really matter.
I think it's kind of cool. Like, say if I was to buy a 4-cylinder EcoBoost Mustang, making 300 horses, and I've owned it for 2 years, 3 years, and they're offering now an upgrade from dealership and will still give a warranty on that, and now making 400, 375 horses.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Gives you more peace of mind and whatnot.
I did want to jump back. I had another question about tuning.
Mm-hmm.
How far can you take a stock tune before it causes problems? And it plays into this, right? The dealers are now saying, well, there's more. We left some on the table. So it's still safe to give you an extra 50 horsepower or 75 in some cases. How far can you take a stock tune?
Well, in the vintages that I work in, say from 2000 through, say, 2015 or 16, somewhere in there.
The LS3 stuff.
Early LT.
Okay.
GM pretty much maxed them out
Okay.
You got pretty much, there's minimal gains because they create a tune that's designed to work in the heat, up in the Arctic, up at elevation, and down at sea level. So there's some compromises. If you're going to tune in the environment you're going to be in, there's some minimal gains. Not enough that you would notice it,
Gotcha.
but there's...
They
so
pretty much used everything.
used
they had.
everything.
Yeah.
Because an efficient tune makes horsepower,
Yeah.
makes power, and they're after every bit of efficiencies they can get out of them.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah, it's not so you start adding aftermarket parts that a tune comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything else there, bud?
No, let's see. Because we've covered a lot of these, so that's what I was just looking through. I don't think we have any more. So we talked about preserving the past, pioneering. Yeah, I think we talked about all the ones that are on my list right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, John, no more projects in the works for you, huh?
Yeah, he's got his truck.
I think we
Just
could probably.
my truck.
His
Well,
truck.
that's right. You said the truck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I blanked that out already.
How dare you?
Yeah. So you want to put the motor in it, run it for a while. When's that going to happen?
5 years ago,
Oh, it's in progress.
it's in progress. It's been on hold for
Yeah.
various reasons.
I got other things. I'm going to LS Fest. I don't have time for
I don't have
that.
time for this.
Yeah.
I've got too many cars in the garage. I don't have room to put it in.
Do you? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shoot.
That's solved now. My daughter took her car back.
Ah. there you
So
go.
now I have a space, but
Yep.
I have to get through race season because
Boo, I hear that.
I have
Yeah.
to keep taking care of those cars.
You got to rotate. Yeah. That's
So-
my dilemma right now too. And you saw my shop. It's kind of packed.
It's packed. That's
Yep.
like mine. Yeah,
So I got to rotate. I'll probably store one in the trailer for a while and give me a little more room
Yeah.
that
I
happens.
would.
over the winter.
Yeah, over
That's-
the off
yeah.
season.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way I do with Liger when she's not being worked on. Just
Yep.
put it in there and it opens a lot more room in there because,
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
That would be an advantage of an enclosed trailer.
it's true.
There you
It's very
go.
true.
Yeah.
A little extra shop space.
Shop space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's important stuff. Let's do some project updates. You got any updates on your car there, Ian?
No, not really since last time we talked. Just working out a few bugs with the tune, but planning on at least hitting the track once or twice more before the season ends for sure.
Yeah, we're getting down there. Shoot,
know.
we're in
It
September
just-
already.
It's flown by. It's flown by. But yeah, I'm just working on a couple bugs with my tune and it's ripping. I mean, it feels great.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get it out there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it'll be good to get that fixed up, and so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. How about you?
I've lightened up Liger.
Lightened it up.
Yeah, she's missing an inner fender wall flare and the splash shield.
When did you do this?
Oh, I didn't do this.
What?
I
Is
started.
that this last weekend?
I started this weekend.
Okay.
On Sunday, I saw that a Miata course was set up.
Uh-huh.
So I threw the keys to the person who set the course up. And I'm like,
Oh.
go drive it.
Oh.
See, because I wanted him to honestly drive my car,
Okay.
but I also wanted to see if it was really set up like a Miata course.
Yep.
So we went halfway through the course, and it was really, really good. Then he got to the other section that was all tight and ran into a wall of cones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Your fender well out.
took all that out, and then I'm like, "Did you set the cones back?" He's like, "Yeah, I moved them back a little bit." And they're like, "Oh, you should go finish the course." You go, "Okay," just finished the rest and kept hitting cones. I'm like, "It's me out of the course.
For sure. Did he adjust after that, or did you just leave it?
Leave it."
Yeah.
So other than that, anything else I've done on projects?
You went and drove. You had an extra day off. You were going to work on the Lambo. Did that
Yes. So
happen? Yeah.
instead,
Okay.
I ended
Did not
up
happen.
working on 3 washing machines
Oh my goodness.
and
Not even close to cars.
gutters, and they're all projects, but none of them were cars. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So Lambo is still.
Lambos still need to be worked on. I need to get on that fairly soon. And it's tough because I already know stuff I need to do to Liger and want to do to Liger.
Oh yeah.
But we're nearing the end of the racing season.
Yep.
But I don't also want to put it off where the beginning of next season I'm rushing it, if that makes sense.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
But the Lambo is going to be taking priority soon. And that's one of the things with multiple projects is picking and choose your battle, but knowing what your schedule is so that way you have a good timeline of how things can be done. You know?
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
So
We got to get that Lambo out of there.
gotta get it out of there. Gotta get the ghost car in there.
Yep.
And then we gotta get the pacer in
So
there.
you got another look at the ghost car this afternoon.
So this
in
is
the
the first
daylight.
time I saw the ghost car in the daylight.
The tarp doesn't
That's-
exist anymore.
I love that. I love the
shredded.
remnants of the tarp.
Yeah, the last time I
Just
saw it,
disintegrated, and then we had a windstorm the other day, and it blew everywhere.
the car is in a lot
I just like how
rougher
it's
shape
still
than I
on there.
thought.
I know, just,
But
just like the rope around the edges.
Skeletal
is still-
remains.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so bad.
But that's the thing is like, even though it's like that, it's gutted.
Yeah,
And the main thing is we decided that car is going to be dedicated race car.
yeah.
So
Do whatever you want
there's
with
no
it. Absolutely.
there's no rust or patina that we see on it.
Nope.
And even though it's been the tarp is disintegrated, it's still strong.
I'll get a new one on there before it starts raining again. Actually, I was hoping you'd have it in the shop by now.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, I think it's not going to be fast right off the bat if we bring it as is. It
Oh, no.
definitely needs a lot of work,
oh, it needs work. Yeah,
and it's going to get.
we just need to make it run. to
that's
start
the first
with.
thing. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. And yeah, it needs a seat or two.
Can I give any hints on that car? I got one thing I want to say about
I
the
don't
dash.
care. Go ahead. I don't care.
Just so if everyone's wondering, so the dash, I finally get seen the daylight.
Yeah,
It's very 80s.
it is very
Oh,
80s.
definitely.
So 80s.
If anyone, the first hint we can give of the ghost car,
It's also
officially-
loose.
Is it? Yeah,
sure of it.
So it's very 80s.
And that
There's
might
a lot
just
of
be the dash pad that's like just barely sitting on.
a lot of LCD panels. That's like
Yeah. Yeah, it's 80s.
So that's all gonna have to go back or taken off.
yeah, I would.
We're gonna have to gut that, put a whole new dash in there with new gauges and stuff. More accurate, right?
Just different gauges, probably. Just go
Actually,
with race car stuff.
We can just get one where it's like an iPad kind of thing, and it already just
Could.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
a lot easier. What am I
Yeah.
thinking?
Like the one Corey has in his.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like a race pack.
yeah. Let's just
Yep.
do that. It'll make it a lot easier.
Yeah, get rid of all that stuff. Just put a sheet metal panel in there and mount something on it.
I was surprised, even though all the interior is gone, all the stereo speakers are still there.
I did see the two in the back. Yeah,
It's like,
I don't know what's in the doors, if anything.
yeah,
One of the door panels is laying in the floorboards.
Yep.
see that.
I don't know if the other one's still on there. I don't even
I
remember.
don't think so.
No, it's gone.
It's just one in there now.
Oh, well, that's fine.
So
I mean, I don't think the paint or body is bad enough to where you would modify it too much. I think it looks pretty good.
Grind it down.
Yeah.
It's got layers and layers on it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
It still looks fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, John? I know you got some race car stuff to do.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had some braking issues,
Braking issues.
overheating.
New calipers this winter.
Yeah.
Not new calipers, new rotors.
New rotors, rebuilt the calipers, or you already did
I
that?
already did the calipers. Yeah. New pads. Going to put a full floater rear end in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be fun stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Run it like that. See how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. So not too much to do, but
Not too much.
bit.
And push it out of the way and get that truck in there.
yep. There you go. Well, just as long as it's ready for April, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
That's cool. That's good. Yep. Well, I brought home the new C3 project and got it in the garage.
you can see it after this episode, right? I haven't seen it yet.
What?
Yeah,
You locked the
All right,
garage.
yeah.
I locked the garage.
Yeah, I did.
He's keeping me in suspense.
You can see it after
He
this.
says I could see it once the Lambo's running. I'm like, okay, that's how we're doing
There
this.
we go. That's it. Yeah. Anyway, I started playing around with that just a little bit because all the parts are there. I took like an inch of pine pitch off of the car because it was parked under a fir tree.
So you hit it with a pressure washer?
No, I just used, what did I use? Lacquer thinner or something to get all that off there. I mean, the paint is no good anyway, so
Yeah.
I really didn't care.
Clear's gone.
Yeah, it's rough. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it is actually the original green. Like, because I took a door panel off to fix the passenger side door wouldn't open. So I had to fix that.
Did those cars have clear coat or were they a single stage?
Oh, I have no idea. Could not tell you.
Well, that would have been a single stage back in that.
yeah,
74.
74. So
Yeah. So it's just rough. It's really rough. But it looks like it is the original color.
okay.
But it doesn't mean it wasn't resprayed either because it seems like there's multiple layers.
Yeah.
So I
If
don't
you
really know.
undo the first two layers and there's a pace car, then I'm going to lose my mind.
It's not.
I know.
It's a 74.
I know.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I've just started tinkering around with it a little bit. Fix that one door latch so it actually opens and closes
Did you
now.
decide or are you keeping the luggage rack?
For now.
It's
For
pretty
now.
tight.
For now.
Yeah.
I know
like it.
people like it. I
like it.
I like those back deck lids without the luggage rack. I like that big flat space for some reason.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I don't know. People like the luggage rack. I'm like, it'll stay for now.
Yeah,
I'm really debating if my Fiat's going to have a luggage rack or not because I've got two lids, one with one and one without. And it's, if I go the one with luggage rack, it means I got to repaint the other trunk lid. Mm-hmm. And if I don't, that means I got to cut holes into my original one. But it's, from asking people, it's like a 50-50 on how people feel about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, this particular rack has some rust on it.
yeah.
So it would need refinished at the minimum. And I would probably just either powder coat it or paint it.
You wouldn't chrome it?
Nah.
Really?
Yeah. Probably powder coat it black would be kind of cool. Not original, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not into everything having to be perfectly original. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, it looks like a fun project. I like it more and more. The more times I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I'm super glad that I bought it.
Did you decide, we talked about the front end of the 68s. Are you going to keep the front end you have, or is that something you like, ooh, I'm going to swap that?
I don't remember looking at the 68 like off the top of my head. I like the way that it looks now.
68 is like the little bit of the chrome on the front bumper and a little bit wider.
Yeah, a little wider
They're-
opening.
Yeah, on the fronts.
No, I don't know. I like the way it is. It's a little bit rough. It's got some damage on that bumper, quote unquote bumper that's on there, but it can probably be fixed. It's just fiberglass stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, still looking for a motor for the GMC.
AKA the 8.3 liter.
Yeah, the 8.3.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I've found a couple, but I think they're a little bit rough. I'll have to do some digging on that.
After listening to that Viper podcast, are you going to twin turbo it?
Heck no.
Why not?
NA, baby.
Yeah.
That's my
Yep.
That's my jam.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I don't care if I can't make 1,000 horsepower. It's okay.
I agree.
I can make-
I like NA, but
can
a
make
Viper
over
motor twin
7
turbo in a truck, come on, that'd be sick.
It would be sick. You're right, but I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
can still make between 700 and 800 wheel, naturally aspirated with a V10 and all the
Yeah.
torque I can possibly want.
Hey, and then some.
Because it's going to be a heavy vehicle too, so I think that'll be nice to have that extra torque of
Yeah.
that motor. It'll carry it really good. So, yeah, still looking for parts on that.
Your truck's actually be heavy? I'm thinking that's going to be like a sub 4,000 pound truck.
I think it'll be right around 4.
You're getting rid of the bed, you're opening up, I thought.
No. Well, no, it's going to have a bed on
Is it going to have a bed?
Yeah.
Okay, that changes a lot then. Okay.
Yeah, and they're steel body,
Right.
Yeah.
so those things are heavy.
Yeah.
But if it's right around
But there's no
4,000,
crumple
4,500,
zones.
do you have any idea of what they weigh?
Mine weighs 44
Okay,
with
yeah.
four-wheel drive components.
Okay, so a little
By
bit
the
less.
time you add that
It's
motor,
got to be less.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, right around 4,000 ish, a little more.
It's not that bad.
No, it'll be
No.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to add some components too because I've got the transaxle, but maybe that's a wash with a T56 transmission too, right? So
They're pretty light.
yeah. So right around there.
That's like compared to modern trucks. I just
I
weighed
think-
mine today at
I don't know what a-
8,500.
Yeah, I don't know what a Viper weighs.
3,000. Well, the V10 one from the 2003,
Okay.
I think is 3,300 pounds.
That sounds
Okay.
about right.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that motor's cast iron. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
Is it cast iron?
Yeah.
I thought the
cast
Gen 3
iron
was
block.
aluminum. Was it?
I don't know.
Aluminum
I don't
heads.
believe so. Yeah, aluminum heads.
Heads,
It's saying the
yeah.
block.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's an iron block.
Yeah. That actually makes
So
sense.
I don't know. It'll have plenty of poop to push it around a racetrack.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you couldn't make 3,000 horsepower with the aluminum block. I doubt it.
you could do it with a titanium block.
Meltdown.
Once.
Once.
Any car can make any horsepower once.
Once. Yeah. I think they said that too. Yeah. If you could run it for 5 seconds, but you can't run it for 8.
Yeah.
That was the problem. Mm-hmm. Did anybody come up with a project car for sale?
Yes, I did. Let me get my list out. That's me grab my phone.
Did you come up with any?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
I just got to go the ones I sent to Rob.
That's fine. I came up with one.
You came up with one? Only one?
Actually, more than one. but
Okay. You had me worried there for a moment.
Waiting for my
I
computer
looked
to
through a
turn.
lot of crap. And just
Did you?
nothing. Yeah, nothing really jumped out at me.
Okay, can I bring up the Cayenne first? I got like 5 of them.
Do it.
Okay. So the only reason, so it's a Porsche. Well, if it loads up, internet's slow. I got
Oh my gosh.
Okay, then you go first, Rob.
All right. So we actually highlighted this car on one of our shows. It's David Giddison's, what is it? Henry. Mm-hmm. The 1951 Henry J. Mm-hmm. He's selling it. It's got a 401. Let me read it so I don't get it wrong. A 401 cubic inch nail head. He had a running video on it that we posted on our Facebook page, and it's just a badass car. Badass drag car. Thing is really cool. He's selling it for $11,000. And he's in, yeah, right? That thing's cool.
That door is long. I love it.
Yeah. For such a short car, it's got a really long door on it. It's fully caged, ready to race. Mickey Thompson's odometer gauges. I mean, the thing is, it's built. It's a neat car. He's in Grieg, New York.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're interested, that is on Project Cars for Sale Cheap.
Nice. So the one I found was a 2004 Porsche Cayenne for $7,500 in Bellingham, Washington. What makes this one special is it's equipped with a Eurowise lift with rocker sliders. It's got a 2 bumper off the fender, stray shopping, whatever, 32-inch tires, a straight exhaust pipe on it, roof rack, solar panel. It has 250,000 miles. Why? This is a good one. 2 things. Is one, Cayennes are actually, especially early ones, are really good off-road vehicles. Just the limited slip on them is absolutely insane. Being a Cayenne, they've already got power onto it.
Yeah.
But what really caught me on this ad more than anything was the marketing on this one. The first thing you see is he photoshopped a T-Rex right behind it being ran by. The second one is jumping over a whole list of cars. He then photoshopped it on the moon.
That's
the
hilarious.
moon.
That is really awesome marketing. That is so funny.
It totally caught me, and I was like, yes, so I must tell everyone about the T-Rex.
Okay.
Yeah,
go,
not my vibe.
No, but that's funny.
It is funny.
It is funny. Good job.
So, yeah.
That's good marketing.
So the next one I found, this one, is this one still for sale? Please be so. Okay. As soon as I tell you this listing, it's probably not going to last very much longer. 1971 Dodge Charger with located in Coos Bay. It's rust-free.
In Coos Bay.
In Coos Bay, it says rust-free. It has a 383 in it, 4-speed.
For those that don't know, Coos Bay is a ocean town.
Yeah.
It comes also with a 440 as well, so a big block, and a bunch of interior parts because the outside looks all together. And heck, even the interior, you can see there's still interior on this thing.
Yeah.
They're asking $12,000 or best offer
With a 440?
with a 440,
That seems
all those
pretty good.
parts in it.
That seems really good.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know Cudas, but
it's not a Cuda, it's a Charger.
or Charger.
Yeah,
Bigger.
Yeah,
Big
longer
car.
longer car.
yeah,
That's a big car.
yeah. But the 71, I mean, like you don't see these very often, and especially at that kind of price.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
anyone looking
Pretty good
for
deal.
a Charger, that would be something to go with. It's got a red with it looks like a black vinyl top on it.
Where's it located?
It's on Coos Bay.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah,
My brain's not functioning. Sorry.
it's all good.
So I wanted to talk about this one because John's here. 69 Camaro. It says pre-X code. I don't know what X code is. Do you know what that is?
69 guys know what that means, but I'm not up
You're
on
not there? Okay. Says it has power disc brakes, console with gauges, factory tack, complete new front with new RS conversion, solid car, minor rust in both panels, but yet it's a solid car. It looks rough to me. Just looking at those pictures.
It does.
Oh wow.
Interior is super rough, but I guess the reason I'm talking about it is because they want $15,000 for that thing. 15,000.
What does that sound like, John? Is that fair?
Sounds like it needs some work.
Yeah, I don't think it has a motor,
No, it doesn't.
right? For 15 grand. Yeah, there you go. No motor, no trans.
Yeah, it's a shell. It's a small block shell.
There's a fair amount of rust on the frame right there, both sides.
Rest free.
Rust-free, solid car. Oh, there's
look
some
at that.
rust. Oh my gosh. 15 grand, you can buy a rust bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That is rough.
So rough.
That's why I brought it up. Is like, this is what they're asking 15 grand for. A car that is going to take 50 grand to get it on the road.
That's true.
To get everything, at least that.
Yeah.
At least that.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of blows my mind. The gauge cluster is cool on the console, though.
Yeah,
That's
that
pretty
is
neat.
cool.
All right.
I got another
That was
one.
it. Yep.
Rob, I sent it to you on the computer if you could pull it up real fast.
Nope.
No? Okay, then I'll just tell you about this one. So going on the opposite end, I think this is one of the cleanest cars I've ever seen for sale, being an older car. A 71 Midget. It is absolutely in like a pristine condition. Look at this interior on this one. This is just
Look at that.
yeah. I'll send it over to you.
I got it.
Please do.
Oh, he's got it.
I'm getting there.
The interior is immaculate. The seller said that they did a brake job 7 years ago, and they never took it off the jack stand. So it's been inside, ran when they put it on blocks, clean title. But here's the thing. It ran, needs a brake. It has a great interior. They want $3,000 for it.
Ran when parked. What
Yeah.
email did you send that to?
I sent it to your Facebook. Because you had Facebook open, so I was like, okay, it's a messenger.
My bad.
Yeah. But no, like this is like, I mean, I'm even debating on jumping on this just because it is in such good shape. It already has a roll bar into it, and I can't tell if that interior has been swapped to something because it looks so modern.
Okay, finally got there.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
That looks pretty good.
It's got the luggage rack.
Yeah.
Yeah. $3,000 for that?
Yeah. And it's, do you see the
Look at
interior?
those seats.
Yeah.
Those seats
it
look
is.
Gorgeous. This is a stark contrast to the Camaro we just looked at.
Exactly. I mean, I think if anyone wants to get into, if it runs, like say it runs, I think that would be the perfect project car for someone who wants to get into a classic car without having to do a lot of work, just to kind of
doubt.
see what it'd be like to have a car like that.
No doubt.
You know?
That's
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
pretty cool. LS swap it? Is that what you said? Ooh, what's this? What is this?
That's Justin's 73 Corvette
Oh, okay.
that he put the wide flares on.
He does have the flares. Yeah.
Daytona or
Yeah.
something.
Wow.
That's an option for yours.
Yeah. Honestly, it would look pretty cool. You could get some wide meats on it then.
335s, 315s.
Oh, man, that'd be cool. I'd like to just do 315 square. Honestly, I think that would be pretty sweet. Maybe someday. I want to get it on the road, see how it does. It's just for me, that car's just going to be a cruiser. Just like take it out and drive it, street drive it. You know, it's not race car. I've got race car.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah, you need one.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. But yes, I know there's
Maybe.
once it's running, and then
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, maybe I could use a little more power. I could use this and that and the other. Yeah,
It never ends.
it never ends. But that's what's fun about it too. It's like
It is fun.
I do want it to run first before I start doing anything else to it. And then you kind of, at least I figure out what it needs, quote unquote needs, right? Because I can already tell I want different brakes and all that.
Yep.
But that's just for drivability. And then the wants happen. So I don't know. Go ahead.
So I've got two more. I just sent you them. If we could talk about the one, probably the 1925. This one's more of a very controversial car, but I still think it's interesting nonetheless. So it's a 1925 Durant Star.
Yes.
So if you read the description on this one, it's so people know that what we're looking at is a German World War car. And the description says, after World War I, Germany was not permitted to manufacture military vehicles. To get around this, they would import civilian vehicles such as the Durant Star models and retrofit them alongside their own Hutchcord brand. This Durant motor coupster was similarly retrofitted and is titled in Idaho as a Horch. The title is controversial brand. It's a 100-year-old car. They're looking for $4,000 for it. I think for anyone who's into kind of the war style periods, or wants kind of a classic in terms of like to go aside their Willys or something different, this is just something that you don't see every day, especially a German car from the 20s.
Yeah.
You know,
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
There is no swastika on it. That's the one thing. It does have a German
It has the German cross on it.
cross on that.
not a
So
swastika.
that's something on that. But it looks like it's all together, and it looks like the engine's all there. It's not.
Well, he got it started. It says in the comment.
It says
It
started.
does start?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It needs cooling and fuel system work, but it does run.
Yeah.
So that's pretty neat.
I mean, the car is literally next year will be 100 years old.
100
Yeah.
years old.
That's
You know.
nuts.
That's
So,
yeah. If you're into military vehicles, even a museum piece, honestly,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's pretty.
So that's why I brought that one up, because
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
it's
something
neat.
different and something you don't see every day.
Yep, that's cool.
So, and then the last one I found, this one is just because of the price and what it is. I am not a big Mercedes guy. So, but this I think was a little bit
Sure
special,
going Euro tonight.
right? 1968 Mercedes-Benz 200D, big wide car.
Oh, there
Those
it
are
is.
cool.
You know,
There, big four-door.
interior looks decent. The outside has patina for sure. It's got a 4-speed in it. It's a one-owner car.
That's cool.
Is what they said.
Oh, look at that rust hole.
Right?
That looks fun.
It has 19,000 miles on it.
You think that's original?
Does
If it
though?
is, that's impressive.
Super impressive.
Okay.
It looks like
It
119,000.
does.
Maybe.
Maybe 219,000.
Maybe. But what they're asking for is $500.
Yeah, 500 bucks.
But if it's a single owner car with, and it actually has 19,000
run?
miles onto it, that could be a really good project for someone looking to restore. Because these old Mercedes, people do restore them.
And
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
cool.
can
It's
see that.
manual.
Yeah,
And that is a
That is
classic
pretty cool.
Mercedes look.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
big wide car. You know,
I don't know if I believe the 19,000 mile part, but
Not a chance.
the interiors all together though. That's a big thing on those
Yeah,
older
it's all there.
Mercedes. That's hard to get by. You know.
and you're right, being that it's manual, it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's neat.
That one's in Olympia, Washington, again for $500. So if you're into a project, that might be one to get, listener. You know?
Yeah.
That might be a neat project for sure.
Yeah.
I dig that one.
Was that the last of your cars?
It was the last I've got, unless I said more to Jeremy. Hang on. I think it's the last one, though.
That is fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Good.
good amount of projects for our listeners to go through.
What's that one winking at you there in the corner?
This one?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a Corvette.
It is
C3.
C3, 160,000, 1974, 2,700 bucks.
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's not.
It's probably in better shape than mine. It's got some serious overspray. They got it on, they painted it and it's oversprayed onto the tires.
Is it automatic
That's
or full
nice.
speed?
It says automatic.
Okay.
You know. Oh,
That's a part.
it's the compressor's there. Mine doesn't have the compressor.
Parts car available.
Car.
Gotta buy two cars to make one car.
No. Oof.
That looks terrible.
John, have you?
It's almost as good as mine.
John, real quick.
I guess I didn't look in yours, Rob.
Yeah.
Hang on, John. Have you, for any of your projects, have you had to buy multiple cars to make one car, or have you always had resources because their Camaros are easy to get by?
I've always had parts available.
Okay,
Yeah. And I tend to stockpile parts.
that's good.
I think most project car guys, especially if they focus on a single
Chassis.
chassis, yeah, they'll stockpile stuff.
Especially original trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stainless trim, window trim.
I met a guy last week, actually, a guy I bought my Corvette from. He does the Camaros, 69s. And his shop, well, he had three in his shop and one in the garage. And he had all kinds of parts in the rafters, on shelves, from bumpers to fenders to this and that and every other thing. But that's what he specializes in, is the 69s.
Yeah.
And
And everybody wants the original GM components because they actually fit.
yeah. Yeah. I suppose the aftermarket stuff is, you got to massage it a little bit. Fair.
Fair, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Sure.
it's pretty substantial work. Otherwise, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was, I don't know, I thought that was pretty interesting talking to him. He did agree to come on the show, but it's going to
Sweet.
be a
That'll be
couple
cool.
weeks. Yep.
Okay, I'm interested to meet him. And he'll be like, "Here's a project. Here's a project." I'm like, "I got enough projects."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about where the Corvette came from in that collection, and then,
What was the original thought process? Him buying it and then
Buying all
Yeah, that
those.
would be very interesting.
yeah. Well, and it's not his collection, it's a friend of his, so there's a little disconnect, but maybe he can talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this 74. It's an automatic. I did want to look up.
The swap?
No,
Okay.
no, I didn't want an automatic.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what kicked me in the ass to go get this one, is because it's the 4-speed and that's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I just want to know how many 4-speeds were built.
There's definitely websites for that.
I'm sure. I haven't taken the time to look it up yet. And I need to get my VIN number and stuff and kind of look at those things. But
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because there's a shit ton of automatics out there.
Oh yeah,
Well,
tons of
because
them.
back then
Tons
that
of
was that was luxury. That was an option to get
suppose.
it automatic because the standard.
Standard was the manual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
it's surprising how many automatics are like, Jesus, they're everywhere.
I know.
You'd think in a Corvette, it was a performance car. They would want to have
a manual?
more of the hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Analog.
especially back then, that was viewed, and even today, really, as better performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have the manual, even though it's
more
slower
control.
to shift it, but it's more control and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
But in the automatics, you can go 1, 2, and 3, and then drive.
you could.
So
It's a slow way to go, but you could do it.
Those old slush boxes were terrible.
Yeah, they didn't like it much. Okay, y'all good with that?
Yeah.
not good with
All right.
what?
Well,
Okay.
thank you, John.
You got any more
Come on,
topics?
man.
We got one more thing.
We have
All
one
right,
more
cool.
thing.
Maybe two.
Okay.
Yeah, Ian.
I'm not rushed. He just said
You're
y'all good.
rushing.
I'm sorry, I'm not. That's the first thing I mentioned tonight.
I'm kidding. Yeah, what's your hard no? What car is the hard no?
That's right.
Yes.
How could you forget it, Ian?
A Yugo.
A Yugo.
Yugo.
Awesome.
Oh.
Yes. That is so good.
Pull that one out from the past.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
How many years did they import that thing? It wasn't very many. It didn't seem like.
2 or 3.
3 years.
Yeah,
I
if
think.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was where I
Was it
where
the
I-
one model or was
Yeah,
it
it was
multiple?
one model.
Yeah.
Yeah, and up where I lived, a little town, little tourist town. They bought those for police cars.
No way.
Get out of here.
Wow.
That didn't last very long.
No doubt. Oh my gosh. Not just the breakdowns, but you couldn't catch anybody.
Couldn't
in that
catch
thing.
anybody.
So funny.
Oh my gosh.
30 horsepower.
It was amazing.
That's hilarious.
I kind of want to see what a police car would look like as a Yugo.
Police car.
hilarious.
Oh, man.
All right. Any other cars? Because earlier you said I've got a whole list.
Well, my wife had some.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can find that. All right. So while I look that up, coolest vehicle related thing you saw this week?
Why are you looking at me?
Well, you got your finger on the pulse over there.
I do? Oh.
Without the project cars, you had to have one thing.
I feel like I did see something, but I think I sent it to Rob. I can't remember.
It was Grant removing his inner fender.
Oh, yeah?
That was cool.
There it is. Yugo police car.
Oh, wow.
It does exist.
Let me see. Oh, it's blue.
Well, yeah.
That's a Serbian police car
Yeah.
as a Yugo.
Let me see.
I don't know. NYPD. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
they had one too.
Did. Yugo 45 New York Police.
Wow.
How about that?
I remember the coolest thing I saw this week.
All right.
I forgot.
What is it?
Remember?
Oh yeah.
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 So I was told to give a shout out on this one.
Okay.
So sitting at home, and my dentist sends me a picture, and to my brother-in-law picture, he's like, "Yeah, my dad's client just bought one of these, brand new Ford GT Mark IV, $1.7 million supercar."
That sounds great.
Yeah,
It's gorgeous.
it's blue.
Oh, wow.
With red and white stripes on it. 800 horsepower. They're making 67 of them for their, I guess, the 67th Le Mans victory, which is weird because they won the 66, right?
I don't know.
1966.
Yeah, but they're celebrating the 67th Le Mans victory by.
Well, is it the 67th victory or the 1967? Because there's different.
It said on their website for celebrating 1967 Le Mans victory, they're
Okay,
making
all right.
67 cars.
Okay,
Which I was like, okay,
gotcha.
that's interesting.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
Is that the last time they won Le Mans?
No, because they did 66, 67, 68. I thought it was 3 years in a row they won.
Okay.
And
I'll have to watch the movie again. That's my historical
well,
reference.
no, because the movie, because they attempted in '64, they didn't do it. '65, they didn't do it. And there's a whole video I sent you of John Ficara's video on the 1965 Le Mans race. That one is an amazing story for listeners or anyone in this room who hasn't seen that. John Ficara on VinWiki talking about the 1965 Le Mans victory of the Ford's program with the Shelbys, Cobras, Daytonas, the GT40s versus Ferrari's 250 LMs, the P4 cars, and the 275 and 250 GTOs or 275 GTPs. That the race and the description he gives is unlike any other. But anyways, that GT that they bought, that my Dennis's father's friend
Some disconnected.
bought, yeah.
Okay.
I got a picture of that, and they sent that from their garage, and I was like, that is the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
awesome.
gonna have to talk to him because you can't just buy one of those.
Right. I
new.
think there's a list, right?
You have to be invited, or not
Yeah.
not only invited, but you have to be accepted in an
apply.
application. So
Yeah.
he must have an impressive collection or have a history of other GTs and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, something like that. It's not like you walk into a dealership and write
Here's a
them
boatload of
check.
cash. Ford will be like,
Right.
goodbye.
Yeah, no, they don't care. You got anything?
Interesting. I got to drive a friend of mine's wife's new car.
Okay.
It was a 2025 Cadillac CT5V Blackwing
Oh, how was
Black
that?
with a 6-speed.
Oh, wow.
How was that?
It was monumental.
Yeah.
It was
That's
just
putting
a
it lightly.
great car.
Yeah.
Really, really fun car.
Dang.
It sounded a little rowdier than I thought it would, being that it's a new car.
Yeah.
Like you could hear it. It does have active exhaust. That was an option. So that was cool.
Yeah.
It definitely made my month
Well.
being able to drive one of those. It felt great. There was
That's
plenty of room and
Yeah.
power was awesome.
Did it have a lot of grip? Could you feel this?
Tons of
any
grip.
body roll or anything like that?
It was not tail happy at all.
Okay, wow.
But then again, it has, all the
All kinds of
driver's
traction
aids.
Controls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What
it's a brand
motor
new
is it?
car. It's a V8 twin turbo.
Is
I
it
don't know
twin
what
turbo?
motor it is. Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know they had a twin turbo. I thought it'd be the 6.2.
I don't know exactly what it
There's
is.
no way it's the same turbo that's in the new. Because the only twin turbo V8 that they're making right now, I thought is in the
Escalade.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say the Corvette, but
No, they're doing an Escalade too.
Which one is it?
There's an Escalade V too.
No. What car is it? I'll look it
It's a
up.
2024-25 CT5V Blackwing Cadillac.
sorry, Dion.
Okay. 6.2 liter V8, it says.
Okay, yeah.
So it's
668 horsepower, 6-speed manual.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
only 600.
668.
660. That's not a slouch, dude.
Well, no,
No,
because
it's not.
Well, think of this: the LT motor from the Z06 makes 660, and that's actually aspirated.
Yeah.
So, and it's a
Well,
6.2
this
liter.
does not say that it's twin turbo.
Okay. Yeah. It might not be.
So if they're likely using the same power plant, they've done that before.
Yeah. Does it say what it
It's a
is?
great car.
Type of engine?
What type? It's a 6.2
It's got to
liter
be a
V8.
Gen
All right.
5, right? There's no Gen 6.
No, it
stuff
doesn't
out.
say. I'm not going to go that deep, but that's cool.
Great car.
John, what do you got? You got anything cool you saw this week? Oh,
The Cobra was good.
Cobra was good. The Cobra
Way good.
sounded good. Oof.
I just so the listeners know, I brought over a 1965 Super Performance Shelby AC Cobra and trailered it over. Blue with
And-
white stripes.
We get to fire it up, and oh my goodness, does that thing sound amazing.
Yay.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And it
great.
just fired up and idled just
Instant.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It just settled right in, and it didn't even have to settle in. It was just there.
It was just there, yeah. Nice little blip of the throttle.
Yeah.
Oof. Gosh, that sounded good.
Yeah, we've had that in the family since I think 1998. Yeah, so
Yeah.
about that. It's one of the cars I've been around the most.
Yeah.
Other than some others. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the coolest thing you think?
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it is. Well, and that Cobra at the track this week.
That was cool seeing that one.
Yeah.
There was a Factory 5 one.
Yeah.
Oh, those are cool.
yeah?
Yeah, it was bright red.
Was it the coupe?
No, it was a
Roadster.
Roadster,
Yeah.
yeah. And the guy was not only did he take like when he'd park it, he'd have a canopy just to park it.
Oh, nice.
Stuff. That was sick seeing that on there. There was a good amount of cool cars at the BCA's Autocross event this year.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm trying to blank because there's just a lot of cool stuff that we had there that was just different.
I like seeing Chris's, was it 73 Camaro? Mm-hmm. Twin turbo?
Yeah.
Oh, twin turbo. Really?
Or was it single turbo?
Turbo at all?
It
What?
was turboed, yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's nuts.
We saw, and then Carl brought out a 80s Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool, and that was heavily modified.
It wasn't running well, but even going around the corners,
It's still
it was up on three wheels.
Three-wheeling it?
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's sweet.
To watch. Yeah. Well, this is the one I saw. I usually try to see stuff in person, but I didn't this week.
What is it?
It's a cross between a Ferrari and a Cobra. It's cool.
What?
I can't even pronounce it. Cobrari.
Ferrari.
Cobrari.
Looks awesome.
I thought it was kind of crazy. See if it says what it was. It's like a 250 GTO. Does that sound right? Does that look right on the front?
It's based off
Does look like it.
It's based off a 250 like Testarossa kind of body, like original Testarossa.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing the video about that too.
Okay.
It's powered by a modern V12 Ferrari engine.
Yes. Yes.
It's, I think it's from the 812 Superfast, but the back end is
that sounds right.
Yeah, the back end is like a Cobra haunched end. So you have the front end of a classic 50s Ferrari, back end of a
Cobra.
60s Cobra, and the heart of a modern Ferrari.
Right. Kind of crazy.
Very cool.
Pretty cool.
It is kind of cool looking. I mean, I actually like it.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. This website is actually where you order it. If you want to order one.
Does it say how much it is? Because I actually might.
No.
Come on, you're busting my heart.
Yeah.
Ian, let's go have someone.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think it might take more than half.
I think
Yeah. If you can get maybe
Where are
10.
they made?
That's actually a good question to ask.
It is a good question. Please hold.
Okay.
About us or anything? Like,
Oh, here you go. Here's the building experience.
Wow.
That looks like a Mira, not a.
a little bit up front.
Sorry.
Oh,
They must have different cars.
They do. They have different cars.
Oh, that's cool.
There's their shop right there. Well, they're made in the USA, San Carlos, California.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wait, San Carlos, California?
Uh-huh.
Where's that at? That's
California.
SoCal, right?
It's in
Probably Southern California.
Stop at their shop after LS Fest. Yeah.
There you go.
Be able to take a
pick
trade-in on a Cobra.
Pick up
That'd be
your
cool.
new car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pull one of them home. Ooh, that's
I want
cool.
a coupe, yeah.
It's a 550 GTO, and then that's a AC Shelby Cobra.
Yep.
And then
Do they do restoration there, it looks like?
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Some cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, kids, that's all I got for the week. Anybody else have anything you want to talk about?
I could talk Back to the Future for another hour or so.
Back
Or is
to
that
the
another
Future.
podcast?
What?
What?
JP?
Well, I mean,
What?
Uh-oh.
or we could talk about both. I mean, I've been listening to a lot more movies lately.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
So back to Zoid.
Maybe next time.
Let me tell you about the anime that's based off
know
of
what?
Giant Mechanical Mechs.
You know what? We're going to have to set him down in front of a microphone and just say, go.
Just get it out.
Just get it out. We can start a whole new podcast just for Grant and movies.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just get it out.
Yeah, the Rambling Man.
Something like that.
So,
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to Untitled Car Project. Check us out on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page and a group.
Instagram,
Instagram,
Twitter, Discord.
Instagram, Discord, and Facebook are all Untitled Car Project, and then Untitled Car Pro for Twitter that we may or may not ever look at.
Two
so you know.
Two big things before we leave. One, want to make sure that I'm totally blank because I have something I was going to have Ian say because he said he was going to say at the end of every episode.
Oh,
We are going to
What? Am I spacing here?
SEMA.
SEMA.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, of course.
We are going to SEMA.
We all got our tickets this week.
We did.
We did.
Yep.
And more importantly is you, the listener, if you have anything you want us to see there, people you want us to talk to, things you want to check out, email us,
Yes.
message us, let us know. And
Otherwise, I'm going to be wandering around aimlessly.
We want to make the our SEMA
my jaw
experience-
dragging on the floor.
Yeah, right. We want to make our SEMA experience like your guys' SEMA experience. Whatever you guys want us to check out, we will do it. As well as if you have any questions, comments, Send us an email, message. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast
Yeah.
on whatever platform you listen on.
Whether it's Spotify, Apple, Podbean.
Something.
Give us a like on YouTube. But
Yep.
it's been a good episode.
Yep.
John,
Thanks,
I really
guys.
appreciate you coming on.
Thanks
today.
for coming in.
Thank
For
you,
having me
John.
with you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, bye guys. All right, so about Jurassic Park, let me tell you, on episode 1 when it started on that one,